to see what's going on tonight with the Habs community, the Habs world. Wait a little bit to see who jumps on in here. Was just in a chat, speaking with people about the vaccine, speaking with people about whether they're going to take it or not. I threw out a few questions or two about incentivizing people to get it. It's one of those things where it's kind of touch and go when you start talking about topics like that. So I just wanted to get anyone else's take on it. I guess I should throw up my logo, and I'll do that right now. See if it'll allow me to. I think I got to go in here first and delete this item and then upload it, and then maybe I can do what I need to do. Let's see. I'll go with that one. Let's see. Go with the picture-in-picture. All right. So I'm waiting for anyone to come on in here to start chatting. I threw in the Habs challenge. I'll give a couple of takes. There was a take on, I know today with the stuff back and forth with Gina Carano, it was like, I never actually saw the tweets, whatever she put on her social media. I just know, from what I can hear, it was insensitive. So I took, Precious, how you doing? You took your first dose. I'm happy to hear that. Very happy to hear that. We need more people like you, trust me, that are stepping forward, and when it's made available to you, that you're actually going there and you're taking it. Shout out to Mike Patton, who's also in the room. Hello from Nashville. Mike, what's going on? And Precious, what's going on? I just thought I would just jump in here and just start to yammer about a few things. I don't really have too many specific topics, but I was just feeling. I was just on a show with my buddy Michael. He does like a morning show. I did it for the safety not only of myself but my family, and that's so important. That's so important, and you should be acknowledged for that, because I don't think that's what people are doing. It's one thing where, and Mike just got off a broadcast. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for the support and just getting off a broadcast and supporting me and sitting here in this room. It's important for you to take this vaccine, for not just you, but it's for your family. It's for your own personal bubble. You need to do it. I know there's certain people, it's a touchy subject, but you get to the point where we have almost, we're heading up to 500,000 people that are no longer here. At some point, you got to take a step back and you say, okay, we could all play Monday morning quarterback. And Mike, that reference was for you for Monday morning quarterback. But you sit back and you look back on the last 12 months and you're like, what could we have done differently? There's so much we could have done differently with addressing this issue. Everyone's been impacted by it. Everyone's lost a loved one or knows someone who's lost a loved one. And you kind of sit back, at the year mark, because I think it was around about this time when my place of employment was starting to slow down because of the impending virus that was hitting the world, and you had to shut it down. He said, I would rather play Monday morning defensive back. Okay, but you're just at the point where, is there anything else we could have done? Like, what are we doing now? Are we out there going to go, getting ourselves tested or getting the vaccine, thinking about our loved ones or parents or grandparents that are out there, that if you've been blessed to the point where your grandparents are still around, are you doing anything for them? Have you, have you called, I don't know, because, the vaccine is available everywhere. Have you called around for them to get them scheduled? This stuff is available. It's not as hard as some people make it out to be. I mean, I know in some states there are some issues, but for the most part, I know for me in Long Island, it was like you call, you get scheduled, you go to the place. It was orderly. There wasn't like some stuff like you see on TV. You're waiting 2 and 3 hours online. You're frustrated. It's there's just total confusion. No, this is something that for the most part is orderly. It's been done orderly, or at least what I can see in New York has been done orderly. And you go in, you get your shot, you wait, you're monitored, and then you go about your business. It isn't available for everyone here in Tennessee, but for the elderly. And that's true. We get to the point where we think about what's going to happen when it's available for everyone. So when they said today, open season, when it's open season and anyone can go, I mean, I can only imagine the crowds. I kind of think of kind of like when we used to be able to just vote on election day. And when you're just out there, sitting out there, online, and you sit here and you say, okay, with so many other states were doing early voting, how come it's not across the board? I'm just hoping that it's available. When it is available, we have, there's enough staff and, people to manage this. I'm putting this on the screen now, Precious. I just feel that many are questioning the safety of the vaccine, but ignore the fact that we are in the pandemic where you are at risk every moment of the day. We consume so many things that put our health at risk wise, and other chemicals. Why make this a big deal? What's the difference? Why not question your recreational activities the same way? Just asking, not judging. And I say to that, facts. I say to that, facts. People are so engaged in way they should, way they want to live their lives. And I tell you, I go back and forth with my friends. So like some of my friends in a specific chat room, we've been friends for about upwards of 40 years. And we sit and we talk and we laugh and joke about a lot of things. Spend a lot of times on sports and talking about, GOAT topics and all this other stuff. But when you start talking about the vaccine, you start talking about really serious topics of how do we combat this, you kind of run into a blank. And Mike responds and says, people are going to make their decisions at that point, and some have already done so. I'm not their judge and would prefer people to take the vaccine, but I can only speak for me and protect me and mine. And that's so true. I mean, you can only handle, I would say, your immediate family. I mean, that's the only place where I would say where you're really actually making that impact is with your immediate family. We really need to hunker down His next response is, I'm not arguing with anyone. I don't have the energy to do so when it comes to some things because some people are an energy drain. I mean, people are. People are. I just think this is one of those things where you kind of, it really is for you to present the case, but if you take a few minutes out to try to explain something to someone, because initially, like my wife wasn't going to take the vaccine initially. She was like, "Nah, I'm not doing it." I said, "Why aren't you doing it?" And she gave me some cockamamie reason. And this was at the point where they were giving out the vaccine at her job because she's a teacher. So she didn't actually have to go anywhere. All she had to do is make herself available. The vaccinators were walking around. I mean, you can't be any easier than that. So they're walking around, and it just gets to a point where this is something you would think is important that you need to do. I think that many have become really relaxed, myself included. You're right, Ted Hicks. We need to hunker down. Well, it's not about me being right. It's just about some of us taking the time out to care about others. Because, if you think about it, um, especially in the Black community, um, the comorbidities that exist. And hang on one second. I work in the school system and they offered it. I took it. Bravo. Bravo. You work in the school system, they're going to take it. I mean, they're going to offer it Precious, when you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything at all. All you have to do is just show up. Mike has said he's explained to a ton of people. And of course, I've tried, but I'm done doing that. People are going to learn one way or another. That's what I have learned. I'm not upset with you, Mike, on that at all. I think it's something that you have to just take the time out. And, if you guys want to jump in, you can jump in. I'm sorry. I could have, because, hang on one second. Let me add a couple, just in case if you do want to jump on. And okay. You don't have to jump in, but if you want to, you're more than welcome to. I see Mike Patton is jumping in.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, Mike? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just sitting here watching the 76ers and the Trailblazers in their alternate uniforms.
Is it horrendous or is it?
No, the Sixers uniforms are good. The Portland ones are interesting, but they're not bad. But I can rock with them.
Precious just jumped in and said sometimes it's not as serious. It's not serious until it hits close to home, and it's true.
He's
It's
absolutely
true.
correct.
It's not until, the sad thing about it is, Mike, it's not until Big Mama passes away, or one of your favorite uncles passes away, and you just like, oh man, yo, this thing is serious. And when that's when it kind of resonates with us, big shout out to Brian Waters. Thank you for the shout out, and thank you for the got talent. Appreciate you, brother.
You can about probably see like half of my face right now because I've got my phone.
Yeah. I love your broadcast when you just like right there on the screen. I love that aspect of it.
Nah, man, I couldn't do that all the time, man. That was on the phone the entire time. But I finally moved to my computer. Finally.
Oh, I primarily do it from my laptop. I primarily do it from my laptop. I've done it once or twice with my son. We're joking around outside in the snow, but like I just don't know how these people are. Like I'm new to live streaming, and I don't know how people are doing it. Um, just being out there with their phone. Like, do they have it attached to their chest or something like that? I'm like, what the
I
heck?
I want to know too, but I'm just like, nah. Let me use this laptop. Get this. Yeah, I'm gonna do that from here on out. Get that and the ring light, and there we go.
Yeah, that's what it is. I've got a ring light on the right hand side, so it's really bright. I got a ring light, and it I got like it's called a cube on my laptop. So these two lights are, I don't know, giving me some form of radiation poisoning or something like that. But for the most part, that's how I do I just use the web browser. And Precious says she has a ring light. I mean, it's a ring light is great because it's inexpensive, and if you are, you know, stationary, then you set it and you forget it, and the only thing you're touching is the power button, and it's like
It's
$20.
yeah, it's literally. I literally plug it into my computer, and I have it like sitting on the side of my computer. It's like literally hanging on my computer
Yeah,
while I'm talking. Oh, Precious says she doesn't know how to jump in.
all you have to do is there should be where the chat function is join broadcast. There should be a button for join broadcast. I don't know if you see it or not. But it's like I sit back. I tell you, like so as probably Danny told you, I live in New York and
Right.
on Long Island, and I'm always kicking it with Danny, and where I'm on the train. I used to be on the train commuting, talking with him, and then when that whole thing came to a halt, it was just like, oh man. So it's like the last year, primarily just working out of my home, and I go to the office like once a week. And what I try to do is I try to complete everything. So everything that I have to do. So I'm at a small law school in downtown Manhattan. I handle their IT. Um, I try to get everything done. Anything that's in person, I save it for that Thursday, and I come in and I hit it like, I'm usually there like 7:45, and I'm running straight through because I know I won't be back for another week.
I hear you.
Uh,
Well, I wish I could say the same thing for me, but I've been going in every day
oh
and,
man.
and literally every day, but there's nobody coming inside though. I work
Oh
in the I
really?
work, I work in the financial field, banking.
Okay.
So nobody's coming inside. Literally, if they come inside, it's an appointment. And of course, we're doing not at well where I used to be, it was temperature checks. And of course, you have to wear a mask when you come in.
Okay.
And of course, we had a glass up between us and the actual customer too.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and the door is open. So there's no closing doors going on. Nah.
Wow. It's
So
it's it's what's funny because I'm at a school and everything used to be hey, before I even comment, uh you seen want to give you a big shout out and shout out to your Bucks. I watched you on Hap celebrating. Very, very happy for you. Elizabeth, thank you for the award. Takara, thank you for the shout out. It's good to see you. And hey to you. And Elizabeth, thank you for subscribing.
hey, you notice one thing about the subscribing now? If you're on you can see the subscribing on Facebook if you're looking at it while you're you're talking. You can actually see them subscribe if it's hooked up to your Facebook now.
Really?
Yeah, I actually noticed that today. I was like, oh, hold on. I
Yeah,
thought it was a comment. I looked down, and it was actually 2 people subscribing.
I will say this much. They are making so many changes. Um, and they are making so many changes, and it's great because they're doing this stuff on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing this stuff on the fly. And I've never seen an organization kind of work this way. So, big props to them. Yassine, if you want to join, I'm going to add you. You're more than welcome to it.
Now, if I could only figure out the algorithm to make my views get like 1,000 and 2,000 and 3,000.
And so I was just speaking with someone about this. I was just speaking with someone about this, and I said, I think it's just, Mike, you stay on long enough, and once that kind of like the archive videos start to crawl at a certain point, and
Mhm.
I mean, just like out of nowhere, they just start to pop up because I get more archived views than actual live.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
then again, I think that's with everyone because people can't catch it live, but um, it's one of those things where let's just say I got 200, and you'll come back and it's like 700, and you're just like, what in the world? So I don't know. It is the algorithm.
I gotta.
Um,
I would love to know what that algorithm is. So if anybody has figured it out, can you please let me know?
you know what? That's something we got to shout out to Pablo about.
Mhm.
Because it's crazy because you see, but so I guess my question to you is, how long have you been live streaming?
Just on here, on this
Well,
app.
uh,
This is literally where I started live streaming at, to be
oh,
honest.
okay. I
So
used to, I used to, and I know Precious was going to hear this. I used to hound Danny, um, and he would let me use his StreamYard, and
yeah,
that was like the beginning of it, and I was just like, okay, I was like, all right, and it's like when you're using StreamYard, you're looking for a little bit more.
look who it is.
Look who's in the building.
Did I do it?
You did it.
See you.
You did it.
I did it.
You
Okay,
made it.
I made it.
Very proud of you.
I was working on it. I wasn't going to give up.
I told you, you had Takara and Yashin. You're also invited. If you can pop in, pop in. If not, it's okay. If you want to just hang out in the chat, you can also hang out in the chat. Yeah, it's this is my introduction really to like live streaming. So
I started. Let's see. I started when I started doing Titans talk shows on before and after games on Sundays. So that's when I started live streaming on here.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So I
This
did
is my
that.
first.
Yep.
This is your first. Wow.
There we have it.
Danny's
There
gonna say,
you
so you
go.
chose Ted to be your first, not me, huh?
I'm never gonna hear the end of this, and neither are you.
He's gonna question my loyalty after this one, Ted. I'm telling
Oh
you.
my goodness.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Danny is a good man. He's not a good man, he's a great man.
He's
You know?
phenomenal.
Very phenomenal. I
There,
mean,
there he goes, giving an award too. By the way.
there you go. There you go.
Oh
Before we jumped on, he's gonna be like, wait a minute, Danny, we'll invite you up.
no!
We'll invite you up just in case. I before I went on, I texted Danny because I said, because I knew Beyond the Buzzer was getting ready to go off. And I was just like, you know what? Let me just send him a text, let him know I'm going on. And that was really it. But so Precious, tell us about yourself.
That's always a hard question. Okay, tell you
Putting
about
you on the
myself.
spot.
You are on my first go round, Ted. Now,
There you
okay.
go.
About me, born and raised in Hampton, Virginia.
Okay.
Graduate of Phoebus High School, if you're familiar with the area. Um, I work in the school system now. I have been a real estate agent, worked in the medical field. Um, I love to do hair. That's what I do on the side. That's my passion. Um, I love the Lord. I love jazz. I love bowling. Do not talk Mike and Ted and Danny. Do not start talking sports because I don't know anything about that. Okay. Um,
I just
I'm
got
in a
here.
learning process. Hey, babe. But I mean, honestly, Ted, that's the most part. I'm fun. I'm outgoing. I love to learn. Obviously, I jumped all into your live broadcast. I'm just here to kick it, just to chat it up and see what's going on with
I
everybody else.
think that's great. I didn't have any actual topics. I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna go live because I see that's what a lot of the live streamers do. They just go live, and the next thing you know, there's a bunch of people on their broadcast, and they're just sitting there having an open and full-blown conversation.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm here. We can chalk it up. What we gonna talk about tonight, kid?
Hey,
I
Danny.
don't know. I will cede the floor, and I'll hand it over to the illustrious Danny Thompson.
Oh no, I just hosted my own show, so I'm a guest over here. Okay, I just hopped off one. I was invited to come here, so Mr. Hicks, this is all yours.
Oh man, I like I said, I don't want to talk about sports. I
just finished talking sports for an hour and a half, so I'm perfectly fine.
Okay. And I was talking on the last show that we were talking about vaccine, and I threw out there, I said, what do you think about people being incentivized? Like, if you're slated to, and this is going to sound like bribery, I get it, but if you're slated to receive stimulus, what if you tie it to the vaccine? You think that's negative? You think that's because you definitely want one thing. If you're slated to receive a stimulus, okay, and hey, this is what's coming to you. What if you say, hey, you got to get both of your shots?
I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, because what happens if it's one of those situations, because there's going to be a one-off, and bigger one-off than normal, is the fact of what happens if they take the vaccine, could be seriously affected by it.
Right.
What happens if it causes a cause and reaction to it, and that person needs that stimulus money.
Right.
Ted, you talked about this on your show many a times, is the unemployment rate keeps going up and up.
Yes.
And that the stimulus check to some people will save their homes, will put food on their table. So now you're saying that if your body can't allow you to take the vaccine, you can't be able to feed your family or pay your rent, and I don't think you want to tie it into the vaccine.
Okay.
I think that's just stepping into too many realms, and you're asking for, it becomes to a point where you're saying it's going to be discrimination at some point.
Would you incentivize it?
I think I can see incentivizing giving somebody an additional $300 to $500 for every person in the household that takes the vaccine. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you're not penalizing people for getting the stimulus, but you're also encouraging people to go get the stimulus. I mean, go get the vaccine. So right. I mean, I'm all for giving a little extra for taking that risk. I guarantee you there'll be more people that will go get that vaccine if you put a $500 price tag on it.
Precious, Mike,
I agree with that. Like, for instance, my clerk in my office, she had a double lung transplant. I was able to go get the vaccine because I really don't have any underlying health issues. However, her doctor has advised her not to take the vaccine, not take it at all, but just to hold off on it right now until they have more information. Now, what if the stimulus package and they want to say you have to take it now? I feel like that's unfair because it's not that she doesn't want to. She's following her doctor's order. So now you're going to make her choose between money that she needs or following the doctor. So I think that's unfair.
Okay. Mike, what's your take?
Okay. I was reading Cortland's comment, but
go ahead. Let's read Cortland's comments.
Yes. And Cortland actually is in the medical field in terms of, you know, I'm not saying he's a doctor, but he's in the medical field.
Okay. Cortland says, hello, guys. I think that tying the stimulus into the COVID vaccine is crazy. Even incentives is too far because you're basically selling something that is unproven for bribes. And that's okay. And that's valid. That's valid. So I guess a question for Cortland would be, how do we motivate people to take this vaccine when it's available?
I think the only way to motivate it is by doing what we're doing now. I took my first dose. I'm fine. Being transparent to the people to say this was my side effect or whatever the case may be. But the more that they see, especially of us saying out loud, it's no need to go get it and stay silent because you're not helping anybody else out. Let people know that you did it. Let people know that you're still healthy. You didn't have any side effects. And then they'll be able to see. Some people need to see. They don't want to just hear. They need to see it. So.
All right. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. You know, it's one of those things where I'm open to having a conversation and having that open mind to say, okay, so what do we do? What do we do outside of we sit there and we talk to our loved ones until we're blue in the face, and or you find yourself, you know, either you and your loved one going to sleep and you're mad at each other, or you agree to disagree, or, you know, all the above.
Agree to disagree is still mad, but you're just mad without talking.
I don't know. We don't want to get into bribery. I get it. I'm all for that. I'm just like,
it's hard because, to Cortland's point, it is unproven, but what other way are you going to get people to go out there and do it? Because, you know, you're going to have a segment of the country that wants to get it done. That you know, the second it is available to the general public, they're going to be the first people in line to go get it. So how do you get the people that, you know, how do you get the people on the fence to go take it? I mean, you have to do something to get the people on the fence, because, you know, it's I don't know what other way to do it. It's, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to me. Mike,
all I can say is this, you know, like I said previously, there's going to be people that want to take it. There's going to be people that are not going to take it. And unfortunately, there's going to be some that, you know, they're going to argue with you, the blue in the face, that you shouldn't take it. There's going to be some that argue with you that you should. But to me, I'm not going to continue wasting energy telling people why they should or shouldn't, or kind of having discussions, because a lot of times those discussions these days have turned into arguments and this, that, and the other. And I've got no energy for that. I'm trying to bring peace to my temple, not frustration and anger. And I don't want any of that. So a lot of times I hear people talking about it, and I just sit and observe them in general. And that kind of gives me all the answers I really need to know at that point.
Yeah.
Big shout out to my boy Information Man.
Information.
He does a phenomenal show. He does a phenomenal show. Kills it. And it's to a point where I try to stay loyal and watch his show on Haps. But sometimes I find myself going over to YouTube to watch just to read the comments in YouTube.
Yes. He's always entertaining. For every time I watch the show, entertaining.
Always mixing it up. I just want to read Cortland's comments. And Cortland, thank you for jumping in here and providing these comments, putting information of the trials out. There's too much gray area surrounding it right now, and that scares people. Also, doctors I work with have been advising against it due to them not having all the information on it. Huge.
One thing I also wonder about too is I understand him saying the doctors don't have all the information about it, but I also wonder what kind of other views those doctors have, because there's a lot of doctors that are saying these types of things, but they already have a certain type of view to begin with. So naturally, they're going to say something that goes along with their view. So that's what I wonder as well.
I hate to say, is anything foolproof nowadays? Nothing is foolproof. I mean, everything is flawed. The things that we're dealing with nowadays. I mean, it's like, does this? It doesn't even stop you from getting infected. It just prepares your body.
Right.
You know, I think about the fact that, so I'm taking a second shot on Monday, and then I'm not sure, but they're going to call me back and let me know when the booster's ready. And then you kind of wonder how many boosters, because as more variants start to come out, then what?
I mean, it's different because it's the different phases. I mean, I said, Ted, you're on trial. You're on test number 2. You got to take your second one. I think Press, you're taking yours when, I think, what, first week of March?
March 2nd.
You know, and for me, my mother is got to take it in April. So, like, I look at, you know what goes on with Press and goes on with you, Ted, when it comes to my own mother, because I have to, I've got to make sure she's doing the right thing.
Right.
You know, and you don't, it hits every person different, hits every stage of life different, and every age different. So, what might affect Presh might not affect you, which might not affect my mom. But I also have to pay attention to that stuff too. So, I remember you was telling me, Ted, when you took it, your arm was hurting.
My arm was hurting. The only thing I felt, and this was with no aspirin, no nothing at all. So, Precious, I would like for you to follow up right behind me. I took it. My arm was hurting that day. It was killing me the next day. But I was lucky that I didn't have to go into the office until like towards the end of the week. I did feel slightly tired, just slightly tired. And to the point where I'm doing, I think I was doing an audio chat an audio conference with someone. I found myself, I fell asleep on the call. I was like, and it wasn't even like I had lunch and then I fell asleep, but it was to the point where I woke up, I was like, whoa, like what just happened?
You got the vaccine-itis.
Yeah.
It's a very true statement. I took mine the first day. I have to be honest, I was a little geek after I got my shot, and I had to go into the room, and then you have to sit for 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. One lady was leaning over, and I'm thinking like, she's going down. She was reaching for a piece of paper, but in my mind, you hear so many scary stories. I'm like, right, just chill out. So that was cool. The second day and the third day, my arm hurt so bad. So that was the only thing. Ted, you're not alone. I was at work. And I happened to wake up from a nap that I did not realize I actually fell asleep. And I'm glad at this point I closed the door to my office, and I'm like, man, this is serious. But that's the only thing that I experienced. The only thing. It was a good nap too. I mean, I must have been gone for at least a good 5 minutes.
I will tell you, it was that situation, and there was a software upgrade that we were supposed to do like on a Friday night, and one of my team members wanted to confirm that, hey, Ted, this is still a go. I didn't respond back to them, and they were like, yo, are you okay? We're waiting on the thumbs up for you to do it, Chief. And I told them, I said, hey, it was a Moderna nap.
That's exactly what it is. All that's watching, if you get it, catch a nap. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's one of those things where, I don't know. That's just where I am on it. People are gonna do what they want to do.
Yeah. This is true, 100%.
Ultimately, that's it. They're going to do what they. I'm going to say, even with the flu shot, I never took the flu shot, and the only time that I did take the flu shot is when I worked in the hospital and I was required to. So that's how I kind of felt about this vaccine. I'm like, I don't take the flu shot. I don't need to take this. But because I saw it was so serious and some of my loved ones around me were experiencing loss with their family, with Danny and his mom, I have a responsibility to keep my immediate family safe. So I did it, like I said, for my family and also for myself. So sometimes I think with this pandemic, you really have had to learn how to be not so selfish when it comes to just yourself. You really have to think about your bubble because ultimately that's what you're trying to protect.
I will tell you this. So at one point, my wife went down to South Carolina because she had to go see her mom. And I was kind of like, you sure about this? Because her mom is 80. And I was like, I understand what you're doing. I know you've made your mind up on what you're going to do. So there's nothing I could do to change it. And, you know, she went down there and it was the full contact tracing from the minute she got into JFK to the minute when she got off the plane at Myrtle Beach, the back and forth. I mean, it was to a point that when she came back, which was like a week later, we had the contact tracers calling her cell phone and also calling our home phone. And I'm not sure if I had mentioned it to Danny. I was like, they called, I picked the phone and it was like, hey, I'm looking for Pam Hicks. And I was like, I didn't know what to say because I was like, she's not here, she's at the mall. But do I say that on the phone?
Exactly.
You know, and it was just an epic fail. We have Dr. Chev saying, hang on one second. Thank you for joining this conversation. I've had the flu shot. But do not want to get the vaccine for COVID.
I mean, that's what happens. A lot of people, they get the flu shot, they end up catching it.
Right.
So
I can't tell you the last time I've actually taken a flu shot.
I've never had the flu, never had the flu shot. I think I took the flu shot twice, but I've never had the flu.
I take it.
Ted, did you take it back in '86 when the Mets won the World Series?
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. You know, screw you. But it's one of those things where I don't know. I mean, I know it's one of those things like we would have, you know, our kids would take the flu shot, but like, you know, kind of like not practicing what you preach. It's always kind of been one of those things for me. Like, oh, you got to take this. Someone else just joined in and said my flu shot is required. I always get sick right after that, but it's not all that bad.
Nice.
That's Cortland.
It's Cortland.
Yeah.
But hey, here's a question that I have. I said the government can't really mandate this shot happening. Yeah, you know, I was trying to come up with we were trying to come up with a kooky reason of incentivizing it. But the government can pass it down to the corporations that could say, hey, if you want to come back to work, you want to come back to school, you want to do X, Y, and Z, you still want to get a paycheck, you got to get that. You got to get that shot.
They sure can say that. That's.
But you know what?
I wonder if it's going to come down to that in some aspects in some companies.
The nurse that was giving me the nurse that was giving me the flu shot actually told me the little card that they give you. She said that this might be something that's going to be required for you to get on planes, for you to go to different places. So I think they're already starting that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, if I think of it this way: if the government comes to me, and I'm a business owner or a small business owner, or I have 500 employees, they can incentivize my business by saying, hey, this is the new norm, and you need to push this down to your employees. I mean, I've had a situation, well, with and I think I share with Danny that someone within her school, they were given COVID tests. So they were not only doing vaccines, but prior to that, they were given COVID tests. And the staff member did not want to take the COVID test, refused to take it. And then it came down to the point where the person said, hey, I'm an Israelite. I'm not taking this test. Mm-hmm. Guess what? That person has been home without a check for the last 4 weeks. So it kind of gets to the point, what do you want to do? Because there's always going to be one war chest is going to be bigger than the other.
And that's the part that becomes the gray area. Cortland mentioned gray areas earlier. You know, when you how do you regulate it? I mean, to Precious's point, that might be our new credit card to travel. That might be the new way we have to go into restaurants. The same way you have to pay with a credit card, you have to get in by showing the fact that you have taken the COVID vaccine. Some people are going to take it and have to DoorDash the rest of their life. It is what it is. Is it for our safety reasons? Like you said, Ted, could be a corporation trying to make additional money because you get a tax break for it. Or is it really for the safety of the people? It's so hard when the vaccine comes out so quickly, because clinical trials have always been, at least from my recollection of knowledge, is that's been 18 months.
Right.
It's normally 18 months. And it feels like this vaccine came out in 18 days.
Yeah.
You know,
So, and Ted, you'll learn this about me. Sometimes I think of just different things that I see on the news when it comes to other topics. So let's say everybody's trying to get everybody to take the vaccine. Me personally, it's going to take one politician or somebody that's a public figure to go the other route and say, I don't want to take the vaccine. I feel like it's not safe. Then that will start a trend, and then now all of a sudden it's okay. Because I've seen that happen. I mean, how do you feel? Do you feel like public figures can change the course of mandating the vaccine to be taken versus saying everybody has to?
I tend to think these public figures or these celebrities or whomever tend to come off as a used car salesperson, because you kind of wonder, is this what you really believe, or is this because you just received a check and you have to sponsor this and you have to say, it's like you doing a cameo. You know, hey, someone just paid you $300 and you're going to say, hey, Ted, you're the greatest person and I love you and you're wonderful. And everyone from our team wants to say hello. And you're like, tell me when you were behind this, tell me how you were educated on this and things like that. I guess how do you feel when a celebrity endorses a politician? Do you feel like that person was purchased, was bought? Or do you really feel like that person, hey, you know, since I like their music or I like their movies, I'm going to do what they do? Like, does that motivate you, or does it? It really doesn't motivate me.
No, in the back of my mind is almost like social media. They just did that for the likes, shares, and comments. That's like how I look at it.
Right.
I kind of look at it as I take it on a person by person basis. But in terms of what that person has presented to us so far in their career and what they've done, because that's going to give you a more clear understanding of who they're really doing it for. They doing it because they care, or are they doing it because they're getting that check? And they'll definitely, you know, their personality and their MO is going to shine through one way or the other.
I'm just big on the ones that just pop up out of nowhere. Like, you know, I started supporting this man last week. Like, where were you on the campaign trail?
Yeah, we saw Antonio Sabato Jr. pop up out of the middle of nowhere during the 2016 election. I haven't seen that man.
Yeah, it's like you start seeing like you start seeing like I don't know the inordane rappers like where were you like what no you see a celebrity that you don't even know somehow just back somebody no you can tell who's been really involved in it because they'll be in from day one. There are some celebrities entertainers that will say that they've been supporting this person for years and the track record shows. That's folks that are genuine. But the ones like you said, the in the election, you start seeing X, Y, and Z, supporting this person. Like, where the hell were you supporting this person? Like, we've been surprised. There's some celebrities that surprise us. So I don't know. I just cover basketball, so I just shut up and commentate.
I just want to read some quick comments from Cortland. Yeah, that's another thing. Religion and cultural beliefs get sticky. You can't make people take it if their religion forbids it. True. Dr. Che says it depends on the size of the company. Stacy Michelle is in here and says, Civic Stage Manager, hi there. Hey to Civic Stage Manager and to Stacy. Takara says, Civic Stage Manager, going good. Smiley face. Facebook user says there's more to it than that. Perhaps they had a piecemeal, precious research, but coronavirus is not new. True. COVID-19 specifically, well, COVID-19. So the studies have been happening for years. True. Previous, not Precious. Sorry, Precious was introducing herself at the same time. But those underlying health issues are not safe. All true. You don't want to beat a topic down, but you just kind of wonder. I know for me, I'm just like, okay, I get it. Just like I was on the phone with a friend today, and they were telling me, hey, I took my shot. I took my shot because, and it was like they were kind of like validating to me because I guess they thought I was going to say, oh, why'd you do that? And I was just like, hey, you know what? Good for you if you were able to get it. So in places like Tennessee, so New York is slightly different than Tennessee, slightly different than Virginia, and slightly different than Charlotte, North Carolina. So in Tennessee, Mike, is it like
they're getting ready to have teachers do it?
Say it again.
I believe I heard yesterday or a couple of days ago or some of that nature that teachers are getting ready to be able to be offered the vaccine.
Okay.
Yeah, and like kids have literally been doing online learning basically for the entire school year.
See, and that's the thing right there. Information Man and I and True Armor were talking last week about in-school learning versus online learning, and I know Danny and I have talked about this in depth because he'll ask me, he'll ask me about my son. Is he in school this week or is he remote this week? Is it this or is it that? And it's just crazy to think that here it is 1 full year later and you've got so many kids still at home.
Yep. All of my students are at home. And the only ones that we have brought back so far have been our kids in the special education program.
Okay.
Now they're talking about, they just had a school board meeting that's saying that by March 15-ish, not necessarily that the kids are coming back to school, but all principals, staff, and faculty have to have all plans in place by March 15th that in-school learning can happen. All the precautions, the PPE. My only concern is we can structure the classroom that the kids are sitting 6 feet apart, that the teacher has a distance,
right,
that they can watch go into the restroom, and that can be sanitized. I don't care what anybody says. We cannot control the social distance when kids are going from class to class. Those movements are going to be the super spreader when the schools open back up because you cannot control that. You can have people monitoring the hallway saying, keep your mask on, but children are children, and you can only hold them accountable to a certain extent because they don't care about coronavirus. They don't care that it's a pandemic. All they're trying to do is get back to the normal life. So that's my only concern. And I have teachers that have went and got doctor's notes and purposely did not show up when the special education kids came back to school. And now they're under investigation because people are scared. They don't trust the PPE. They don't trust that everybody has the precautions. So it's a shaky situation. It's shaky.
When you mentioned that the special ed students.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you?
And it's the self-contained.
It's upstairs.
It's the self-contained. So it's the ones that they have to have 100% assistance. So they're not mobile. They're not anything. It's just a self-contained. And even with them just coming back, and I want to say it was maybe 6 or 7. Every week we had at least 1 or 2 going out because they had a high fever. And at first it wasn't COVID because we had to take them immediately to get tested. But then after like a week or so, then we get documentation back. They have COVID. So it's really sticky, and it's I don't feel like they should come back. I feel like they need to wait until the next school year, especially because it's still cold outside. It's the flu season. That's what I believe. But because of SOL testing, they want to bring the kids back. Funding, always has something to do with it.
Right.
So I mean,
but so here's my initial follow-up question. I'm sorry about that. I didn't ask that. My daughter was knocking on the door and was getting ready to go below the camera because she was like, "Mom?" I'm like, "No, Mom is not here. She's upstairs." But what about the impacted communities? The youth that look forward to the meal, like the morning, the breakfast and lunch that they receive because they may not receive it at home. What are those students doing?
So we have different sites. We have probably maybe like 4 sites within the Hampton City Schools district. So we have in our cafeteria, they prepare meals, not only just for that day, but they'll prepare meals for 3 days or 4 days for each student. And they will pack up a huge school bus, and one of the security officers, along with some of the cafeteria staff, they go to that site and they're out there for maybe about 4 hours, and they have it on the schedule so that kids can come and pick up their meals and take them home. So we do have that in place because the unfortunate thing is when kids come to school, sometimes that's the only meal that they get. We have a lot of McKinney-Vento students that are homeless that we have to provide transportation to. So we try to give them meals, but it is out there. They are being fed. And sometimes we have students that don't show up, and then we have students that have big families. So we give it to them to make sure they can come every day of the week, Monday through Friday.
Yeah, I'm just going to read these quick comments. It's tough for minority communities because of American history, but at the same time, our communities have been so disproportionately impacted. It's a tough call. I see both sides. So what's the right choice? Stacy Michelle chimes in and says, "My kids have been in school all year. I'm in Montana. They had 1 week shut down at one point. My oldest was quarantined for 14 days once after being exposed." And she said, "Montana is a great place to live during all this, with all of this going on in our country right now." I mean, that's major. Precious, so since you're in education, Lynn, how did you in your school deal with the students that didn't have computers or the technology or broadband, like for online learning?
So what we do, Cox Communications has offered where we're able to provide any student that does not have internet a Wi-Fi box. If you have reduced lunch or free lunch, you automatically qualify for it. If you don't, you just fill out an application, and every student has a Chromebook. So they were using Chromebooks before the pandemic. So once the pandemic hit and they had to leave last March, they took their Chromebooks with them, and that's how they've been doing their virtual learning. And Cox has offered internet services to families for only $10 a month that qualify. So we're able to provide them the service. Is it the best? No, because you got to think their customer base was already huge. Now you're adding all of these other students that did not have Cox. So it's a struggle, especially with the cameras on. So we have said that they can turn the cameras off because it doesn't pull as much bandwidth. But they have the resources. And for the students that really, really, really struggle, we do offer them to come into the school, maybe like 10 at a time. My school is huge, so we spread them out. So we kind of work. We have a system in place, but they have what they need.
So just to follow up on a question, you said if you apply, I mean, if you
qualify.
If you qualify. So what do you have to do to qualify? Like how bad, and I'm sorry to say this, but how bad off do you have to be?
I think they only did that because the only hiccup that I see is if a customer previously had Cox and they had like a balance. That's the only time that I've seen that they have been denied. So I don't know what the school system is doing to work on that. They can still get the Wi-Fi box, but as far as like the straight internet service from Cox, that has been the issue. When I say qualified, they only fill out an application, put the name of the parent, the student, the grade, and that's it. It's a simple application. But if they have a balance, I've seen them be denied for the actual internet service, not the actual Wi-Fi box.
Wow.
So, and I've had during this pandemic, I have had more of my students to get locked up with felony charges, in detention, behavioral health. And I came from behavioral health before I went into the school system, so I'm able to identify. But it's really hard. School is a daycare for a lot of parents. Some parents can't stay home with their kids. Some parents still have to go to work. And now, because the pandemic has become so harsh, parents are making their children who are able to work go to work and not even log into class. I have one student, she works at McDonald's, and I work with her every day. She has her phone by the register. I mean, I'm hear people order McDoubles all day long, but she's logged into her class, but she has to work because if she don't, her family won't have a place to stay. So it's a lot of dynamics that's going on that you finally see at the forefront now that these kids are home 24/7.
Yeah, that's real.
It is.
I remember when my wife told me that she was driving around with the laptops and the broadband cards, and she was stopping by the group homes.
We do home visits to the kids. I mean, if they're having a hard time with focusing on the Chromebook and they're kind of like old school and we're dropping off packets to them. We will drop it off to them. We will pick it up. We are going out of our way to make sure that we're doing everything on our part to make sure they succeed. But it's rough. And the teachers, that teacher that's been teaching for 20 years, do you really think she knows how to teach virtually?
No, not at all.
It's a struggle on each end.
Not at all. Not at all. I just want to read this comment. Yep, and blame the American economic system. Teachers are not babysitters and shouldn't be subjected to such a high risk. Large classroom sizes, enclosed spaces, not enough equipment pre-COVID. Politicians need to get to work and make childcare affordable. Teachers and other essential worker pay on par with the cost of living, and do whatever is necessary. Do whatever is necessary for us regular people instead of lobbyists and corporations. COVID has revealed all the disparity and fragility of our infrastructure. It's so true. So true. It's and to think, the United States is the superpower. Mm-hmm. The United States is a superpower that all the other countries used to look forward to. It's just really something, and it's good that we were able to spend some time on here and share this, because like some of the stuff that you mentioned, Precious, my wife has mentioned, like just the struggles of working with a parent, trying to get a parent online, and the only way for them to get online is through their phone, their mobile phone. And it's like, this stuff is serious.
I don't know if your wife deals with this as well. So, like with our Chromebook, when a student logs in, because that Chromebook is assigned to them, their name already pops up. But if they have Chromebook issues or anything like that, and let's say they have to hop on their phone, teachers don't even let a child in the classroom if the name ID on the Zoom does not match their role, because we have had people that have been hopping into Zooms, and it's so many different things, and kids are getting so. We have one kid that he took a shot of a blank screen, and he will send it in to his teacher saying he's having Chromebook issues, and it's a screenshot. It's not even, he has no Chromebook issues, and they're getting so creative. It's something.
Yeah, no, it really is something. Hey, want to give a big shout out to Mike Patton. Thank you so much for joining in. It's Precious. You've definitely opened our eyes to these situations, and I want to thank you for joining. I hope that this might be your first time joining, but I hope you're regular. It's a good community. It's a good community.
I have been enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the people jump on and they're engaging, and it's like, everyone's not going to agree.
Right.
Everyone's not going to agree. There's some topics that are kind of, get people a little hot under the collar. What my buddy True Armor and I, we talk a little Trump from time to time, and things get a little hot because, even though we saw what we saw on January 6th, people are still ready to ride for him. And I'm like, I don't get this, but that's another story.
Right.
That's another story. But I want to thank you for definitely taking the time out. I do have a couple of basketball questions for Mr. Danny Thompson.
You know what, Mike? No, Mike is gone. Ted, I'm going to head out on this one. Who wants to talk
Thank
about
you.
Why are you going to duck out now? You've been here so long. Why? Fear. Have a seat. What's up, Ted?
You have me watching. I watch games now, okay? I'm reading articles, okay? Like, I'm involved.
Precious, you are totally engaged. You're involved. You're supportive. You're a good one.
Nicknames for the players now. That's how much I watch them. It's okay. Go ahead with your question, Ted. I'm gonna rock it out. Because you got me up here.
I think our mutual friend realizes the value that you bring to the table.
Listen, I've never complained. I'm not a person that's going to complain about anything. The woman above me, she's amazing. So I'm not gonna discredit her for one thing that she does. So no, I will not say that. Not on this Haps airwave. I will not do that.
So I gotta ask you, because you and I talk about this phenomenon that is LaMelo Ball, dude. I knew about his internet following, and we remember, from watching him on Overdrive, watching him on TikTok or Snapchat or on IG. Dude, is it a mania out there or what?
I've been a Hornets fan, taking their journalist hat off. I've been a Hornets fan since 1988, since day one. I don't think in all the years I've seen one player ignite this entire city. There was a group of guys, with Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson and Muggsy Bogues in the 90s. Right. It was a group, and they fell in love with the team. Kemba Walker was the last one we had, and now LaMelo has come in and he's transformed this entire franchise. And so as he's transformed the franchise, you can see the difference in the fan base. The fan base is growing every day. You see that the fact that they're changing times of games now for the Hornets. Like, they just changed 2 games literally today. And they're starting to get more attention. They're getting on SportsCenter. And so it's a big buzz, quote unquote, in Charlotte, but it's something this city has not seen. And I'll be honest with you, Ted, this might be the first time since Cam Newton has been here that the city's had a figure that they can follow. He's 19 years old. So it's like he's got the youthful exuberance of a kid, and he's been phenomenal. He's also one of the more fun people to interview around the league because he doesn't really say much, which is a gem in itself.
Danny, I have just to put some perspective in this. I have a 19-year-old daughter, so I get it. I get it. I fully get it that he is something that is definitely phenomenal, and I could see future face of the league, one of the future faces of the league. Yeah,
I mean, he's definitely going to be. If he continues at the pace he's going now, I mean, he's already going to be the franchise player in Charlotte soon enough. If he's not by the end of the season, you're going to see his face everywhere. I mean, and it's not even because of his dad, and that's just a very, very bad thing to put on him, is trying to put LeVar Ball stigmatism on him. He's his own man. I mean, trust me, once he gets established in Charlotte, he's got the Puma deal. I guarantee you you're going to start seeing LaMelo Ball shoes for Puma everywhere. He's his own brand. He's his own person. So he's got star written all over him. He just has to make sure that he continues to play it is. And he's already got his head on his shoulders already. So just got to continue to good play. That's it.
Let me chime in. He's a beast player. I just think he gets lazy sometimes. That's just a question. And if he comes out with shoes and they have cute color combinations, I might get a pair. Okay, you can go ahead.
So it kind of segues into my next question for you, which is a lot of talk about to have the All-Star game or not to have the All-Star game. And you got a lot of prominent players are like, what the heck are we, what the heck is the league thinking about? What's your take on it?
We just had a whole 30-minute conversation about COVID. There's no way these players should be playing right now for COVID. I mean, we already have players missing due to COVID. There's already as much protocols you put in place. COVID is inevitable eventually, and the other part is the guys get a full week off. They're playing literally, for example, by the time Charlotte finishes the stretch, Ted, it'll be 9 games in 14 days. All right. Players are playing so many games, so many days. They have to stay away from their families as much as possible. They don't even see their families that much. Like LeBron James had mentioned earlier, I want to spend time with my children. You can go back to Giannis. He said that he wants to spend time with his newborn. So guys want to go home to their families. Guys don't want another risk, when it comes to, the pandemic. They want time with their families. I think at this point, with a global pandemic going on, if the case is trying to raise money for all these different things, let the players donate their all-star salaries to the HBCUs that they were going to do the all-star game for anyway. I'm pretty sure that they would rather donate their salaries than play a game that in Atlanta, of all places, that doesn't need to be played. So no, the game should be shut down. They shouldn't have it, but money talks, and so does TV contracts.
So I think you hit upon something key. This is all about TNT's having the All-Star game, having an All-Star weekend. There's big money in play.
Yep.
So is there any way where this is not going to happen?
An outbreak. It's going to have to be a serious outbreak. This is the first time I feel like Adam Silver officially has overdone what he should be doing. The NFL did it right. They announced the Pro Bowlers. They had a video game Pro Bowl contest. Okay.
Right.
Guys were at home socially distancing, playing Madden on television. Listen, why don't we get 4 or 5, name the All-Stars, have it on 2K, have 4 guys play each quarter of 2K and broadcast it, and let them have fun from their living rooms.
Okay.
There's no COVID test. Listen, as much money as people spend on Xbox Live and PlayStation Online with those servers, I'm sure for one evening they can make sure it works correctly with no glitches.
Hey, I just want to chime in with a couple of comments. Don't have an all-star game, a meaningless exhibition. sadly, someone is going to have to die.
That's that. We don't want that to happen. Nobody wants that to happen. I think that something serious is going to have to happen before the professional organizations and professional sports realize that this is not the brightest idea. It's not a bright idea. Like I said, the NFL actually got something right, Ted. We've watched the NFL move games around. We had teams play 3 games in 16 days due to COVID. But when they made sure the All-Star game happened, it didn't happen. It didn't. The Pro Bowl did not happen. Players were not subjected to go to Las Vegas for the Pro Bowl. They got their award, they got their check, and they sat at home. The NBA should do the same thing. The NBA has been the forefront and the leader when it comes to a lot of these things.
Right.
This is the next one. They need to cancel this thing, but it ain't happening. Sorry, Captain. All-Star voters for fantasy on Tuesday.
So tell me this. Definitely meaningless game. Definitely no defense. And I just want to tie it into the next question is, how come it just seems like there's no defense being played? And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Ted, it was a different NBA in your time than what it is today. But, dude, the no defense is horrific.
I mean, Ted, when you watch basketball, it was peach baskets and there was no dribbling. So, of course, there was good defense back in the day. No, I think it's been the culture for years. It's the AAU culture. You go to AAU games, you watch games throughout the summer. A lot of those games don't play defense until it matters in the fourth quarter. It's that generation, Ted. It's the same generation where people complain about, these guys take too many days off. In the 80s and 90s, guys play 82 games in 40 minutes a night. That's what they did. Different era, different type of game, but also different type of athleticism. The guys in the 80s can't do the things the guys today could do. Ted, for every David Thompson, there's 3 or 4 guys that can do what David Thompson can do on the court. So, I mean, it's not to mention the fact that you can't hand check anymore. A lot of the defensive rules have changed. Like Michael Jordan, that scored 35 points in the 80s with hand checking, would probably score 50 points a game now.
Easily.
I
think even more. I think even more because he would get to the line 20 times a night.
I mean, Larry Bird, some of the greatest shooters of all time, the three-point game wasn't in their arsenal. It wasn't really used. Can you imagine those same shooters in this type of NBA today?
I couldn't. I really couldn't.
Hey guys, I'm going. Y'all have fun, okay?
All right. Thank you so much for
joining. Y'all next round.
All right. Thank you so much for joining.
You're welcome.
Danny, tell me, why is watching the Nets so frustrating to me?
Because they're extremely top heavy. It's 3 guys. And if those 3 guys aren't playing or playing well, then Ted, the rest of the roster is outside of Joe Harris. Have fun with it. And that's the part that's a little different. I mean, the Nets are frustrating. It's going to be frustrating. It's what happens when you get to be top heavy. The NBA has been about, you have to have balance. You got to have star players, but you got to have guys that play roles. And that's really it. The Nets are frustrating because also their 3 best players all do the same thing. They're just at different heights.
So is there any way, do you foresee them actually fixing this season, or is it just no can do?
If Andre Drummond gets bought out, he's headed to Brooklyn, going to solve all the interior issues. And then the NBA is going to have to be an arms race in the Eastern Conference to try to catch Brooklyn at that point. Drummond wants to be in Brooklyn. He's got to work out a buyout. If the buyout happens, then he ends up there. But as far as like acquiring something, the Nets are over the cap. They gave everything away to get James Harden. And I think ultimately, I hate to say this, trading Jarrett Allen and Caris LeVert could have been the worst thing the Nets could have done. The worst thing. Even if it is James Harden.
Yeah, I think you and I, we talk often about the Nets. We talk often about NBA and various other topics. But I wasn't all in on getting James Harden because I was like, you're going to break the team up. And it kind of reminds me, I think it was either 2011 or 2010, when, to a much lesser degree, when the Knicks traded all their role players for Carmelo. Now, I understand. I get it. Carmelo, great player. Role players are role players. But it just, everything just exploded after that.
I mean, you got to have a balance between star players, role players, and guys that are going to be, handing out water and towels. You got to have a balance between all of that. And the Nets are now wondering, okay, your fourth option is Joe Harris, and your fifth option is what? Jeff Green, Bruce Brown, DeAndre Jordan. That's your fifth and sixth option. A month ago, Ted, you had Karis LeVert. I know he has a situation with his kidney, but he'll be back soon. You had Jarrett Allen, and guess what? You can plug the paint everywhere. Okay, the Nets can't guard anybody in the paint. And so now you're going to have to score 130 points a game every night, even though you got three of the best offensive players in the NBA, three of the top, I say 10 offensive players in the league on one team. You're going to have to score 130 every night to win.
But isn't it a big problem that these three players are so similar?
That becomes the problem. When it comes to big threes, you got to have a balance. You got to have three guys that can do three different things. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden are all great scorers. They all can do different things with the basketball, but not one of them are elite defenders. Not one of them can protect the paint. James Harden and Kyrie Irving's biggest strength is being able to handle the basketball. Why were the Miami Heat were good? Because their role players were solid. Why the Celtics were so good when they had their big three? Because Garnett, Pierce, and Allen did different things. And the Nets have similar pieces. And that's the problem.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's really frustrating because you see these guys and you're like, okay. So like you said, you're going to wait for the buyouts, or you're going to wait for, there's no way currently built as they are that they're going to even get past. I don't even see them getting into the second round.
The Nets will win the East. The Nets will be the favorites to win the Eastern Conference because stopping all three of those for 7 games, winning 4 out of 7 against those 3 guys is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult because if you look at the way the only team in the East that can really keep up with Brooklyn is Philadelphia because they have defense and they have Embiid. That's the only difference. They can defend and they have Embiid. Ben Simmons can guard all 3 of those players. Ben Simmons can guard Kyrie Irving. He can guard James Harden. He can guard Kevin Durant. Ben Simmons is one of the best defensive players in the league. Embiid's going to take everything down low. I don't know if Milwaukee can do it. Indiana's still not healthy. Miami's still trying to get everybody back from COVID. So it's Brooklyn's race to lose right now. It's Brooklyn's race to lose. So no, I still see Brooklyn in the team that wears purple and gold in the championship right now.
You still see that. I mean, maybe it's because I'm a novice and you're a savant. I don't see them making it to Eastern Conference Finals.
It's all about how the brackets break down, because as of right now, you got, if the playoffs will start, say Brooklyn's at 3 and Milwaukee's at 2, which means you avoid Philadelphia to the conference finals.
Right. Maybe they can gel in time.
I mean,
this is a short season.
Yeah, you can gel in time, but Ted, remember the first 3, and also the first year of a big 3 is always not the championship year. We saw it in Miami. They didn't win a championship the first year with the 3 of those guys because they had to figure it all out. By the time year 2 got here, they dominated everybody. They're going to figure it out. The one thing they need to figure out is, and we still haven't learned this yet, is will Kyrie Irving and James Harden, and Harden I think will do it, will defer to Kevin Durant at the end of the game? That's the real question. I think Harden will, and who is also going to handle the ball into the games? You want James Harden with the ball in his hands because he gets to the free throw line. He'll get Kevin Durant open shots. Is Kyrie Irving going to be okay with it? There's a lot of different moving parts about this. They're going to. It's a lot of moving parts with the Sixers. I mean, with the Nets, and like I said, the buyout market is going to change a lot of things. And Ted, here's the other part about the buyout market and the trade market. There's 10 teams in the playoffs this year.
Right.
Teams are not selling earlier than normal. because Ted, look at your New York Knicks, Ted.
Yeah,
the Knicks are in the playoffs right. The Knicks would be in the play-in game right now if the playoffs start today.
There's a lot of noise starting to come because you got to think about it. Leon Rose, Worldwide West, Tibbs.
I mean, they just traded for Derrick Rose. They traded Derrick Rose early in the week, and the Knicks went out and did something. They made the first move to try to better their team. So there, and like I said, IQ's been playing really well. Emmanuel Quigley,
right.
They still have. They're getting production out of guys like Alec Burks and those guys, and Julius Randle's been playing like an all-star all season. So the teams that you think would sell early are actually trying to get to number 10. So the later they're in the race, Ted, the less likely they are to sell.
Okay.
And a market, Ted, where economies are down, the economy's down, and teams aren't making money because even though we have 11 teams in Brooklyn and New York will be the next ones, they're only less than half the league have fans in the building.
So I'm glad you got to that point. I just wanted to get there really quick with you. So Danny, tell me this. You got stadiums are going to be filled with 10% or 20%. What is your take on that whole thing with Mark Cuban? Because we're not playing the anthem to the NBA laying the smackdown. No, the anthem will be played. Like, did he not talk with the other owners about this?
Listen, Mark Cuban does what Mark Cuban wants to do. Mark Cuban felt like he was doing the right thing, and I support what he was doing. Adam Silver also realizes that yes, it should be it should be a decision for each of the teams, but at this point, the backlash would be so bad right now. You already got people who don't like the NBA now for all the stances they made during the bubble. All of everything when it came to Black Lives Matter and the players having their rights to say what their jerseys and everything else. A lot of people didn't like that.
They did.
And now, Ted, you're walking in firestorms in some places, Ted. Some cities, are going to be okay with it. But what about those cities that are not okay with it? Those players live in those cities. Those players, their families live in those cities. Not everybody thinks the same, and we learned that everybody not acts the same. Adam Silver's got to protect the bottom line here. The league is bleeding money because there's no fans in buildings. So you have to be able to keep a captive audience as much as you can. He might not agree with it. We don't know what his thoughts are. He has to really, you got to play the middle line here. You can't win. You can't go for every battle. Sometimes you have to back some you got to back down. Because the NBA NBA did an awful lot with Black Lives Matter. They did an awful lot.
Oh yeah, they did. And I just wanted to know where was that coming from, because I remember just seeing it trending and I was like, oh, okay, this is trending. So what is happening here? Because you click on Mark Cuban, I'm thinking first Shark Tank, then I'm thinking Mavericks, then I'm thinking, okay, maybe he did something with Bitcoin, or maybe he's off on another project. And I saw that and I was just like, well, so wait, what's happening? Because everything is just politicized. So you're going to have one side that's going to say, okay, I'm down with the movement, and the other side is going to say, oh, this is woketopia.
And that's the thing. It's like, I don't want to use this quote because it gets taken out of context, and I think this is the best way I can explain it. Michael Jordan made a comment a long time ago about supporting Harvey Gantt in the Democratic race.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan said it best: Republicans buy shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Republicans and people who support the anthem, they buy tickets, they buy jerseys, they buy NBA League Pass, they buy, merchandise. You do you want to quote unquote piss off another part of the segment again? Now you're saying you're not playing the anthem? Oh boy, are you going to start another storm with the NBA? People say, oh, the NBA can survive it. The NBA is surviving, but how much longer can they survive like this? You see what I'm saying?
Mike Patton says he's going to have a NBA NFL discussion come Sunday. Book it. Y'all coming? I said, yes. And the Daniel Bryan, yes, I gave him. but it's
on Valentine's Day. Can we rethink this one, guys? On this one,
you got to make sure you do all your prep work and you have everything ready to go. Then, I like to say, for my wife, it's like every day is Valentine's Day. That's what I always say to her. I always say, hey, every day is your birthday. I always say to my kids, I'm like, every day is Christmas.
Yeah, I get it. But as you saw, the lovely lady who just dropped off on education. Speaking of education,
yes.
The Hornets play on Sunday night, Ted.
Wow.
So I'm already taking Sunday off for the Hornets. So there is no Hap show on Sunday for Valentine's.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So no, but so.
He said, "Yep, Valentine's Day. We giving sports some love." He said, "Saturday then."
I'll have my people call your people. Like I said, Mike. For Mike, I always, Mike's got to tell me time, and we'll work something out. Mike's one of the best people in the industry. Love Mike to death. He's like, one of the funniest.
Danny, I was I've always been a fan of you, and your work. I've been a fan of Mike's work. So thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for also bringing me to Haps to meet all these fine people here. I mean,
listen, it's a great place. Mike brought me here. And like I said, I've said this on many occasions. If it wasn't for Mike and Brian and Ashley and those guys and gals, I wouldn't be over here either. So, they brought me in, on their tails, and they have outstanding shows. So, but no, like I said, I've been meaning to jump on one of Mike's shows, and like I said, Mike is one of the more talented writers everywhere because he does more of the sports. His short stories are really, really good and very captivating. So, nah. Mike, we're showing you Valentine's love right now, bro. So,
so what's your take on? And this kind of dovetails into the last topic of COVID and everything else like that. What's your take on? The arena is going to be filled 10% or 20%. Like, how are we doing this? Like, does the person who's trying to get into the venue have to show that they had a negative COVID test, that they took the vaccine? What's the rhyme or reason?
I know some places are having rapid testing. I know the Miami Heat are using COVID sniffing dogs. It really depends on the team you're talking to, so I don't know. They got dogs down in Florida that can sniff out COVID.
Goodness.
All I know is that ticket sales normally they always sell by the bundle. So it's never individual tickets. You got to buy, I think, 2 or 4. And they have certain sections where it's just 2 and 4. So, it really depends. So, no, I think there's COVID sniffing dogs. There's rapid testing. There's people who are getting the 15-minute test. I think it really depends on the franchise, to be honest with you. I know here they haven't opened up the arena yet here because if it would, the ticket rush for LaMelo Ball would just be almost insane out here.
So is it going to be kind of like how it kind of was to a lesser degree at the Super Bowl? Like, are tickets going to be like $300 to get into the venue, or?
I know that let's see. I've seen ticket prices, vary range depending on the opponent. The NBA's always they've been good about ticket prices. It really depends on the market. Ted, and also a lot of teams go by the theory of, who's in town, so that way we can hit you over the head. The good old who's in town rule. Let's see. I will pull up. Let's see, because we have, I think New Orleans still. No, New Orleans is not. Oh, Utah. I'll pull up Utah, for example. The Jazz are one of the few places that still have fans. They've had fans from day one because it's Utah. What can I say?
Wait, they've had fans at the games already?
Utah's had fans from day one.
Wow.
So, Ted, to answer your question, Ted, I pulled the Pacers. The Pacers are playing in Atlanta this month, and StubHub has tickets going for $199 right now for a pair.
Okay. So 2 tickets for $199.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a nosebleed seat? Is that?
Well, I think in a lot of cases, I'm not sure how the arenas are being set up because every arena is different size. I think they are social distancing. I'm not sure if they're opening upper levels arenas yet. It really depends on number of people. I think Cleveland doesn't do it because I think it's like 1,500 in Cleveland. So it really depends. It really depends on what, it just depends on what size the arena, how the arena is shaped. I think most of them are lower level seats.
Oh, so it's going to be kind of have the feeling of like a CYO game or something like that.
I mean, it's going to be the same way. It's like watching my daughter play basketball on Saturdays. I mean,
Right,
like
right. That's exactly because I was thinking when my daughter was little, and you go to a game and it's like really nobody there except the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mike said Ted ain't heard of my short story series stuff yet. Ted, you ready? Yes, sir. I am ready. And to follow it up, he said Danny will tell you about the absolute craziness the stories are. There is killing, backstabbing, and more all in one, nail-biting endings for each chapter.
Basically, Ted, it's like watching New York Mets. All right. All right, Ted, here we go. Nets, Suns and Pelicans in New Orleans on the 19th. They got upper leg in their arena, and they are open the upper deck in their arena. So they got tickets for $34 in the upper bowl.
Okay.
So
I mean if it's upper bowl, that sounds kind of reasonable.
I mean, yeah, and so everything is spaced out. So I mean, I'm not. I'll tell you this: I will not be at a game anytime soon.
Right, and that's the next thing, because I had someone ask me today at work. They said, "Hey, they're gonna have fans start next week. You in there?" I was like, "No, I'm not."
Yeah, I'm in there watching it in my living room.
Danny, so tell me this much: tell me about the problems these professional teams or these professional organizations are going to have in the next 5 years when you're watching an 8K TV in your living room that's 65, 75-inch screen. How is that in-arena experience going to deal with that experience in your home where you can lean into your fridge and you can grab a cold one and you're not paying $15 for it?
The same way we watch sports in 4K, the same way you watched it in 1080p, the same way we had it in 720, and Ted, even the same way you watched it back, it was on ColecoVision and on the Etch-a-Sketch. Okay, all right. With all the technological changes, Ted, throughout life, we're still going to go to games. Once the country feels safe and we start having crowds again, people are still going to go back to games. People want to get out the house. People want the in-game feel. People want to go buy new clothes, new jerseys. They want to see their favorite players play. They want to see the Zion Williamsons play. They want to see the LeBron James playing. So they want to see those things. So people are going to go back. I mean, people just want to get out of the house. You got to think, Ted, by the time the country comes back again, people get tired of watching sports on television. I don't care if it's 8K, 10K, or 98K. They want to be in an arena after a while. They probably don't mind that they saved enough money. Some people saved enough money they can go buy that $20 beer. Okay, so it's different, and I think people are going to want to get out after a while. It's the same way with restaurants.
So tell me this much: you're media, Mike is media. How much do you miss that in-game experience versus you're doing Zoom now, right? Or you're doing Google Meets, or
everything through most of the leagues have been Zoom. I miss the arena feel. I mean, there's nothing better than sitting down and covering a game live. There's nothing better than sitting down with other journalists and other people that cover the team. And, you never know who's coming to town. One of my favorite things to do is when I cover games is I love talking to the other team's media or the other team's television crew. I mean, Ted, one of my favorite people to talk to is one of your favorite guys, which is Walt Frazier. I remember being in Orlando a lot of them nights, and when the Knicks are coming to town, and getting to the arena early enough where I can sit down and have sit next to Clyde and sit next to Mike Breen when Breen's actually covering games for MSG, and literally sitting at their table, and because Clyde won't let you sit by yourself. If you get there early enough, he won't let you sit by yourself. And then you're literally learning, you're talking to the Knicks, and then you tell them you're covering the other team, and they want to pick your brain, and they want to talk to you about the other teams. I mean, I love when Atlanta came in town and have a chance to talk to Dominique Wilkins and Stacey King with the Bulls, and you get to see other teams' media, and then you have the actual interaction one-on-one with the players. You get to sit down with the coaches, and yeah, the pregame meals for the most part are pretty solid. I mean, some teams are better than others. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a certain, I mean, I know from going as a fan or going as a influencer or a blogger, like you get up, there's like such a rush to go to these events, whether it's, it's Jets or Giants or Knicks or Nets, or Yankees, or Mets, Islanders, Rangers, that you really get up for it. I mean, it's a great day. And I'll be the first one to tell you it's artificial now because you're sitting there and you're just like, well, all right. Because I like as a fan, and so I have, four members in my family. So for us to go to an event or for me and my son to go to an event, it's not cheap. So it's like, you're going to the game. That's like your game of the year, or you might, if you're blessed enough, you might get to go to 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I'm saying is that's what you miss. You miss the rush of riding to the arena. You miss getting in there and walking around if you can get there early enough, walking around.
I miss, for me, if I can say 3 things I miss the most, I miss being able to get to the arena. So in Orlando, most times we have a 7:30 game. You're able to get in at 4:30. Some of my best stuff I ever got was one of my favorite ones was the night I had a chance to be at courtside when LeBron James during his warm-up when nobody was in the arena. Like, it's literally just LeBron James, the people that work with the Cavs, and the guy that was setting up the rim on the other side to make sure it was stable. And LeBron's just shooting jump shots for 20 minutes with the headphones on and just shooting. I enjoy being able to sit back and go in locker rooms and see how guys prepare for games. And listen, there's not a better rush than seeing a star player that a team that only comes one time a year. There's nothing better than watching Steph Curry warm up before a game. There's nothing better than that. And seeing the rush of people wanting to see him. When Ted, you remember the year that Curry was just the Patrick Mahomes of the NBA at that point.
I remember.
Ted, I remember in Orlando, they opened the arena 30 minutes early so people could watch him warm up.
Right.
You had almost 10,000 people on one side of the court just watching him shoot from half courts. Like, it was like a rock concert. When LeBron James came in town, you could see every Laker fan or LeBron fan just screaming this guy's name. I mean, like I said, Ted, one day when I finish the writing part of life, I might write a book on the things I've been a part of and seen in locker rooms between the NBA and the NFL and Major League Soccer and the sports I've covered over the years. Because, I mean, Ted, we've talked about some of these stories offline. You just laugh, but that's the experience. Like,
right.
Like I said, I've had wonderful moments with Cam Newton. I've had interesting moments at the Pro Bowl. I've had my foot stepped on by Carmelo Anthony. I mean, I've been yelled at by players. I've been in weird locker room situations. I mean, I've seen a lot of things. You would see, and trust me. And like I said, I've even had women had me ask players for their phone numbers because they were standing outside. I've had those moments before. So, and I've even had a conversation with Pop. Out of all those things, me and Pop have had a conversation. So, I miss those things. I can't wait for those days to be back. But I wonder now because a lot of players they never liked the fact of media being so close to them. Mm-hmm. I wonder if we ever go back to that again.
Would they? Do you think they could potentially use that as a crutch?
I mean, Yeah, they could. We can go back to the days, Ted, where it's kind of like college football. What you have now, you have guys going to the podium, and that's it.
Hey, I want to just read some comments really quick. Mike Patton chimes in, I miss being in the media and getting that pregame meal. Danny, you have told me on several occasions about the spread that's been out there for the media, how they take care of the media.
I will still say this to this day. Jacksonville has the best media food I have ever had. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
I miss it so much. Haven't seen the game live, and it's been rough. I'm ready for LA in 2022 for the Super Bowl.
Yep. Same here.
Said Brooklyn has been one of the best pregame meals ever.
I've heard Brooklyn and Miami have two of the best I've heard around the league.
I'm also reading here. That's the part I can't wait to experience, Danny. Takara mentions she was stepping out for the evening. She was getting ready to jump in, either hop in to do her own broadcast or jump in to do another broadcast. Mike chimes in and says, I'm wondering in the fall, will we be able to go to football games because I'm going to get credentials to see Jackson State versus Tennessee State so he can interview potentially none other than primetime Deion Sanders.
I love Prime. Such a funny guy.
And Dea, thank you for chiming in. Hey, I was watching your Twitch earlier today while I was at work. As always, you do a great job with your show. Your show / live stream. Man, Carmella almost ran over me one time. LOL, it was the game on Christmas that John Wall and Quincy AC were fighting on the court in the fourth quarter. And Dare says, it's frozen here, and Cortland chimes in, I'm new media, so Mike Patton and Danny Thompson have to show me the way, show me the ropes and etiquette, and get me in there, Mike Patton. I love to talk shop with Deion.
Deion's a funny guy. I had my time with Deion at the Pro Bowl 2 years ago during the celebrity football game with him and Snoop Dogg on the same team in the same game. Just know that it was a lot of interesting things going on, and one of the funny things about Deion Sanders is that I got a picture with Deion. And normally, Ted, you know me, Ted. When do I ever take pictures at media events? But
right, never. But so, it's Deion.
Yeah. So what happened was Deion. I was trying to get a picture of Deion. Deion was in Deion typical fashion. He was like, "Man, you got to be better at the selfie game. You got to take this with the quickness." And so he had one of his guys take the picture. And at that point, I got Snoop Dogg, and I think he was halfway high during the game as well too. So it was an experience, but no, Deion's a good guy. Loves to answer questions, and he's very, very. Deion Sanders is very inspirational because you can listen to Deion, you ready to play football right then and there. So coaching is a great thing for him,
right? So what do you foresee with Deion when we do get back to our regular lives?
It's going to take time. And the one thing I'm not a big fan of is people wondering how successful he's going to be from day one.
Mm-hmm.
College football doesn't change in 1 year. Okay, a guy comes in, and yes, he's had more time to prepare, but you got to get your recruits in. You got to get your guys in. And college football takes about 2 to 3 years. And the real question is, can Deion get he wants to get high-level Division I talent on the field. And if he's able to get some of these recruits, then you can see Jackson State not only just being a powerhouse where they are, but they're talking about being a powerhouse nationally and playing some of these bigger teams. So I'm excited to see what he does at Jackson State. Like I said, I'm not expecting him to go out there and win the Black College National Championship in year one. That's just too much of expectations. But I expect them to be a lot better than what they were the last time they stepped on the field. That's something I can't expect.
Before we wrap it up, give me a take on the Super Bowl, because there's There's so many different narratives. There's so many different stories out there. I mean, lackluster, yes. What's your take?
I mean, we talked about this on Beyond the Buzzer tonight. It was really people can blame the refs. People can blame that they wanted Tom Brady to win. Though what really happened was Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich arguably put together the perfect game plan on how to beat the Kansas City Chiefs on both sides of the ball. The Chiefs got their heads kicked in for 60 minutes by the Buccaneers. It was a total team effort. Bowles on that blitzing with you're missing your starting left tackle in the center, and it was all out blitz, which was Todd Bowles' best game as a defensive coordinator, or best job he's done as a coach in a very, very long time. Byron Leftwich called a great offensive game. Tom Brady made enough throws. He didn't make any mistakes, and Leonard Fournette carried the game in the second half. On the Chiefs side of the ball, Patrick Mahomes ran for his life. No one has run more in a Super Bowl than Patrick Mahomes. He ran for 490 plus yards in the game behind the line of scrimmage. Teddy ran for 490 yards behind the line of scrimmage, trying to save his life on Sunday. So that's basically the Super Bowl, Ted. I mean, you got to give it up to Tampa. They won the game.
Yeah, I will tell you this much. I'm going to do a pod tomorrow with Bucko Bruce. I'll get the exact time because I would love for you to just chime in and pop in and see Bucko.
No, good to go Bucko, but you understand Bucko's a Bucks fan. I'm a Falcons fan. Do you really think I want to?
Oh yeah, that's true. With
his 2-0 Buccaneers over the Falcons on the Super Bowls.
I got you.
Nah, depending on time, it'll be good to see Bucko Bruce. But
yeah, it's. I will tell you and Mike and Information Man and our viewers in the chat, easiest $300 I've ever won in my life. I just knew there was no way. Not only that Tom Brady was losing, but when you look at Bruce Arians' staff, that says it all.
They won on Black History Month.
Yeah.
All black staff winning on Black History. All black staff with minorities and women on your staff, and you win the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Point blank being out. Well, guys, like I said, it's been great being on here, and my main man, Information Man, is in the building. So
what's going on, brother?
I'm going to let him take my spot. That way, I can enjoy. Ted's been a pleasure always. Information Man, your show is. Listen, I thought it was. It's way more than informational. It's very entertaining as well. So, guys, enjoy it. Ted, as always, my pleasure, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Hey, Ted, I wanted to say, brother, thank you for the support, man. You've been coming around my program, and I appreciate that. And that's why I wanted to get up here and say what's up to you today.
Listen, I wanted to jump on. I wanted to let you know I get notified when you come on, and you have some really, really, really good topics. Really good topics. I mean, bravo to you.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you.
Because it's the stuff that needs to be said. It's the stuff that needs to be said in Information Man. And a lot of people don't have the cojones to say it.
That's true. That's true. I try to speak the truth, but there's a lot going on. I had a chance to look at this, and I was going to go on and just give a short report about more of the crazy things. Donald Trump, just to give you a preview, you know this already. Donald Trump's in a lot of trouble, man. You got multi charges coming his way, various things. He's got some criminal charges amongst many other charges coming down the line. So even if the Republicans decide that they don't want to charge him, which I think they're probably they're going to give him a break. I think ultimately New York is going to get him, and all these different charges that are coming down the line are going to get him in the end.
Atlanta's going to get him.
Right. Atlanta. We're talking about charges that will put his butt in jail, as you already know.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm well aware And I'm like, this is horrific. This guy is in some real trouble, and the Republicans can't save him because this stuff is state related. They can't save him. So whatever they decide to do, over the next few days, and when they fail to convict after all this evidence that's been presented, that's on them. That smear goes on their record. But the real stuff is the state related charges that he's dealing with. Yeah, which was why he was going to do everything in his power to stay in office and try to run out the clock.
Exactly. Facts. That's facts.
Yeah, it said, wait, hold on. I got to stop you right here. I know you're not staying too long, but it says Information Man is like a superhero of information and public speaking. Love it. I'm telling you, dude, I've been loving your show. I was watching it on The Officer. Let me get this right, because this was like maybe 2 nights ago. You did it kind of late.
Yeah, it was a late night.
And just on the, and I try to chime in just to let you know, hey, I'm here with you, supporting you. I'm like, that's PTSD right there.
I really appreciate it.
And I'm like, but the way you break down the stories, you provide the information is so helpful that even if you were leaning towards the other side, you kind of bring the person to the center. Exactly. And you tell a story. You tell a story, and that's what the beautiful thing is about. I love the way you narrate your shows and the subject matter.
Well, thank you again. I have interviews. I usually do a lot of interviews with people, so I have interviews that will be coming in the near future. And the interviews are even more incredible because I have a few folks that I'll be loading up a video on here. It's going to be incredible because I enjoy connecting with people and getting their perspective. So I recognize, as I've been saying repeatedly, there's a lot of professional people on this app and what have you. So I want to present stuff that people can really use their critical thinking caps. They can learn from. That I don't want to isolate people in a situation where they can't get something out of what I'm talking about or feel like they don't belong here. I think the way HAPS is, what I'm seeing is that people are supporting each other here.
Yes.
And so I'm already feeling that support. And so I want to put content on here that people can learn something from. Also, it can give you a solution. It can be entertaining, but at the same time, you walk away saying, hey, I didn't know that, or I learned something from you. And that's exactly what I want to do. And, there's some subject matters that I will provide on here, and there's some that I will provide in other areas that I feel the audience, you have to always recognize the audience that you are speaking to as well.
Yes.
And that's very important. So I just really wanted to come on here and thank you for your early support. I like what you do too, brother. I'm telling people about yourself as well. And just keep doing your thing. And
definitely.
We'll see where this all goes.
What do you have in the queue for tonight's show?
Well, I'm just going to give, and it's not going to be that long. I'm just going to talk about Donald Trump. I'm going to break down the timeline, detail to detail.
Okay.
And how he failed to call the National Guard in. I've gotten it broken down, chronological order. There's another thing I was just saying to you that after the Senate trial, will Donald Trump face criminal charges? The former president I'm going to talk about that, about the charges. I have an array of things about his charges. And then this one is interesting. Have you heard about this, Brother Ted? This was out of Truth Out. It's entitled "Trump Campaign Paid Millions to Organizers of the Rally That Led to the Capitol Rampage." We're talking about the tune of 3.5 million and maybe more. And so a lot of folks that were on that mall or out there at the Capitol that were involved in this, a lot of them were under Donald Trump's payroll, paid organizations. So what this is getting at is that, and they've been talking about this, is that this situation wasn't just some organic situation. This was planned. And Donald Trump has been putting money in the pockets of these people who were engaged in this. They didn't even have an appropriate permit to even be marching in unison down the streets of Washington, D.C.
Right.
It talked about that in the article. So I'm going to touch on that. Mm-hmm.
I saw that, and I just got to say to you, there's all types of wrong that is being presented. And right. I really, really, really want to see these guys turn around and say, nah, we're going to quit. And then turn around and go back to their local areas where the voters voted for them and explain it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I want to see. I want to see that being said with a straight face. And, I'm not even talking about them getting on the panel shows, the CNN and the Fox and MSNBC. No, go back to the people that voted for you and try to show face.
Right.
And maybe they will get away with it. Maybe they will. I don't know. But listen, love what you're doing. Love the show. Love the interaction. Mike, hey, I just want to let you know before you go, Mike Patton had chimed in, and I want to put this on the screen. It says, I was up past my bedtime watching that one about the officer. I couldn't stop watching. I was silent because I didn't want to miss anything. Now, behind me on my right, which is on your left, I have a TV. I actually had to put it up on the screen behind me.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I can see your screen right there. Wow.
And I was watching it the other night because I was like, what am I said, huh? and then like I said, with you, I was watching the so you have a show on HAPS. You have an experience on HAPS, but your experience on YouTube is totally different. Like a lot of those comments don't carry over.
Right. I'm going to say this. What I do, there's going to be some content that I'm not going to do on HAPS.
Okay.
YouTube's a little bit more raw. I can be a little bit more raw on YouTube, so I have to pick my poison. And there's some things I'm not going to do on apps, and there's some things I am going to do on apps. And that particular program that I did the other night, I felt that it was important for me to do it on everything because of the fact it was the issue of suicide. And that's a serious issue, and people are taking their life right now. And I have personal experience with that. So I thought that it was appropriate because we know that there's people out here that are suffering from that.
Right. You're definitely right. I mean, and the part of the COVID discussion that I did not want to breach tonight is the suicide piece of it. Right. I did not want to breach that because, certain times there's certain conversations where I think people are up for, and maybe people might not be up for.
Right.
But the level of suicide that has hit is just like incredible.
Right.
So, man, as I said before, keep doing what you're doing. You are making a difference. Don't let anyone. I mean, you don't come across as the type of person to let anyone tell you you're not making a difference. You are.
No, I really appreciate. I'm a humble person, so I don't take what people say or let anything go to my head. I'm very humble, and I'm going to stay humble. I really appreciate this coming from you, brother. I have respect for you. since the first time that I had a chance to engage with you on your panel. I said that's a guy there that has it all together. And so coming from you, I take that at a high level. And so I'm gonna keep doing it. I got some more surprises because I want you to say I got a interview with someone that I'm going to be loading up on Hats, and I think it will be mind blowing for everybody. And it will be and it will be something that will be helpful to everyone, no matter what your race, creed, whatever. It's going to be helpful because it is going to be health related and environmental related. And this is the woman that I'm interviewing she's one of only a few people that have done documentation, have written the books on this subject matter. So I'll be bringing her on in the coming maybe a week from now, and then I'll be loading the interview up into Hats. I'll load it up as a pre-produced video.
Is it going to be one setting, or are you going to release it in chapters?
What'll happen is I'll probably have to have her come back because she has done extensive research on this, and so I'll have to have her come back over a period of time. But we're going to get the first chapter of it out the way. It'll be a complete interview. She'll break down all the science and everything, and I'm telling it will be. There will be some entertainment flavor to it, but it's still going to be educational enough to keep people's attention. But it's going to make you think about a lot. So that's coming and that's coming probably in next week. And then I'm going to load that up over here and see how people take to that. So I've got a lot of things in store. I'm just going to take one thing at a time and build from there and see. And then what I do is I sit back and I observe Haps. I try to see what is the style of content that people are doing on here, what's working, what doesn't really work. Understand the audience.
Man, it's a hodgepodge. It's like what they would call like a hooly-gooly. It's you're gonna get some that are doing a little bit of cooking. You're gonna get some that are on here dancing, maybe not too much substance. Yeah. Then you start to where you'll find yourself just from us engaging each other is you'll find yourself leaning more towards the thought leaders, the ones that want to have the detailed conversation on whatever the topic is, because the other stuff is cool when you're sitting there laughing he, but after a while you're like, all right, I'm not 20 years old. So I jumped in. Someone invited me into a session this evening, and we sat and we talked for about an hour, and we talked after the show, and we noticed, a gentleman from Toronto, Michael Bathurst, I think his last name is, and we noticed that here were two people who never actually had a conversation. However, we've connected, totally different race, different background. But we were able to talk on specific topics, and I gave my take and that gentleman gave his take, and it was organic. What it was. It was just like, I don't agree with you in this. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I don't agree with you because we're not meant to do that. We're not meant to do that, but I'm telling you, it's a good community. Like you're gonna find some complainers on here, like some people that always have drama.
See, that's not what I wanna do. Right. I don't want to get into drama with people. And I like to hear people's opinions. There's a woman on here called the Wacky Foreigner. And she made some statements today on her program that I thought was interesting. And I've got to connect with her because it's a subject that she was talking about that I would like to interview her about. Her perspective is that you have immigrants or foreigners who come over to this country. And this is from the perspective that she was speaking about. And she felt that she was even saying from her own culture because she's Indian. He's Indian. And she was saying that she notices that people come over and they'll use racism as a way to get what they want to complain. She feels that they're being taught to use that as the buzzword to force to get what they want, not necessarily because they're legitimately being discriminated against, but because they're learning that that's something that you should say in America because we're all into this political correct situation nowadays. Now that was her perspective, and I was listening to her, and I want to talk to her more about that because she was coming from a more of an immigrant perspective.
Okay.
From what she's seen. And I said, well, that would be interesting to talk to her about that. And she's on Haps. She goes by the name of Wacky Foreigner. I gotta make contact with her.
Because like the first question, information man, I have for her is, has she recently migrated over?
Well, this is the thing. She's actually born here.
Oh.
And she even this was what's interesting about it. She even said that even though she's East Indian and she's born in America, when she goes to India, because she's not considered a citizen there, there's certain things that she can't get rights to. She says she has a sister that lives in India and she can't use a cell phone unless someone who is a citizen of the country vouches for her to be able to get the cell phone.
Wow.
I thought that was like, whoa.
Yeah, that is whoa.
So she gave an interesting perspective because she's coming from the perspective of someone who's East Indian, but who's born in America. And she's saying that even as an East Indian woman in her own native country of her ancestry, there's certain things that she's not afforded. I found that interesting. So I said, man, I gotta have a conversation with her.
Yeah, that's unique. That's someone definitely I would love to, if you can add her name in the chat session so I can follow her, that would be greatly appreciated because I would like to go back and review that discussion so I can get a better understanding of the perspective because not that you're going to approach anyone, but you're going to be like, hey, I would love to,
I think she has more of I don't want to label her, but my impression is that she was coming from more of a conservative view about it because she did talk about the fact that, okay, we have Americans in this country. We have people that are citizens who pay taxes that live here already who need help. And when you look at a situation like in California where you have the border, where you have so many people who really want to come in, and I think her perspective was sort of like, what will be the impact of just letting a lot of people come into our country at the thousands and millions?
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, brother Ted. We got people that's born in this country, pay the taxes. We got people born here who are struggling and they need help. And people that are born here, citizens, no, they're not getting help in some cases.
So initially, you're talking about chain migration. Yes or no?
I guess that would be the proper term for it.
That's the PC term.
That's the PC term, right?
That's the PC term is chain migration.
But see, we have American citizens who find themselves in food banks for the first time in their life, waiting in line in cars and things of that nature. People that are out of work that are struggling, and the question is, is this the best time? Because we know Joe Biden's talking about his immigration policy. Is this realistically the best time to start thinking about bringing an influx of people into the country who are also going to need a lot of assistance?
Right.
Versus focusing on the citizens that are here struggling and make them whole first.
That's the difference between a Democrat and a Republican. and depending on and that's the reason why we kind of find ourselves shooting down the middle, the independent realm, more and more and more, because we're just like, well, wait a minute, what are you trying to do? Okay, right. Well, this side, what are you talking about? What are you upset about? And then on the other end, you're like, okay, what are you upset about?
Right. I
Wacky
just put her
foreigner. Okay.
Yeah, check her out. She had, I think that post that she did today is still up, and I would love to have a conversation with her and get her, because the perspective that she's bringing, like she was recognizing that there are people that are racist, but she was also saying there's also people who use it to manipulate. But she was specifically talking about people that are immigrants who come here. She feels that they're learning to use that buzzword before they even come here to get what it is that they want, that they're learning these words to say. And she's coming at it from a perspective from her experience being an East Indian woman, because she's seeing those in her culture who are utilizing it to their benefit when they're really not experiencing racism. Now, that's according to her perspective, of course.
Okay. I before I even comment on that, I would have to look at her video.
Right. Look at her video.
And because it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, it is a slippery slope. That's why I want to talk to her to go a little bit deeper into what she's talking about.
Back to Basics says it's a terrible idea policy. Look at what happened to Rome. Right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Matter of fact, me and her supposed to go on for a quick little minute. That's Back to Basics. I know her. She follows me on the YouTube. She's very nice. Very good person. She's got military experience. She's been around the world and everything.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, but if you look at it, if you look at the idea, or you look at that, what was just mentioned, that's the difference. That's part of the reason, or one of the many reasons, that the country is split down the middle.
I think that's what I was going to say tonight. I think politics has really, the way politics is set up in this country, between the blue states, this whole blue state, red state type thing, it's splitting the country. It's fracturing the country. I really think it's a bad concept to be broken apart based on these sort of red and blue flag states ideology. I think people have the right to be conservative. I think people have the right to be liberal. Of course, we don't want to tread on each other's rights, but I think it's also affecting us. Why can't we take the best of what the Republicans have to offer, the best of what the liberals have to offer, and match that together? Why do we always have to be separated by, you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat? That's really fractures us in some ways.
But
in some ways.
Information, man. I've gotten to the point where both sides don't want to work together.
Right.
They don't want to work together, because when you're in power, I don't want to work with you, and vice versa. Right. You know, it's kind of like, hey, you're like, hey, Ted, when are you going to come on my show? No, you come on my show. And you're like, well, wait, what's going on with this? I'm like, right. It should be like a handshake going back and forth and everything like that. Right. They do not want to. They want to talk bipartisanship, but they don't want to work together. Well, I mean, just look at the last. Take a deep breath and look at the last 12 years. And the only real major policies that have been done have either been through, one side going nuclear and going with 51 votes, or executive orders. I mean, if you look at it from healthcare on down, if you go from 2007 or 2008, or even run it back a little bit further and say, hey, when the banks were collapsing, from there, from 2007 all the way to this day, most of the policy hasn't been bipartisanship. It's been executive orders. It's been this. It's been that. Or it's been, hey, we're going to go nuclear on this, and with 50, because they can't do it with 60 votes, because either side can't find the other. And Back to Basics says I registered independent, and that's what I've been looking into. I've been talking with more of my friends about that. I said I wrote myself in the VP slot on the ballot. No shame. And I hear them, because you look. I mean, and I don't have to tell you, because when you're voting, I'm just going to go with this quick story because I know you're short for time. It's when I would be in church and you see these politicians sliding up in there, slipping and sliding, showing their face every 4 to 6 years, grabbing a mic, dropping $20 in the plate. And I had mentioned to my pastor, I said, don't give them the mic. Don't give them the mic. Let them sit down and let them sit in the congregation, hear the sermon, and then at the end, if you want, give them the mic. You know, of course, that's never the case. They grab the mic, they're talking for 10 minutes, and they're telling you, because I tend to primarily a black church, they're telling you, vote Democrat, straight down. I mean, and to me, that's so insulting. It's just insulting.
I think it is. I think it's very insulting, because they feel that they have our votes in the bag. They take us often, and that's the problem right there.
Right. We talked about those executive orders a few weeks ago, and we talked about, you know, Asian Americans. There's an executive order for them, for transgender, for, you know, it's like all the various groups. And then you sit here and you say, okay, so what's happening for the African Americans? Because, you know, this election, every specific group came out and said, hey, you won because of me. So he's writing a lot of checks right now. And I don't know if he'll be able to have them all cashed.
I doubt it. I think they're already saying that Biden has not lived up to some of the things he said he was going to do. And I think what Biden will end up doing, and we're seeing it with the whole COVID situation, is that he'll say, like he did today, that Donald Trump did not leave the cupboards filled, that he left them bare. Because now he's finding out that there was no plan, there was no this and that. And and it's and let's be honest, Donald Trump was at the helm of the ship. But sometimes maybe you shouldn't say certain things until you get a chance to investigate what's going on. And then you can probably say, hey, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do because I did this investigation.
Right.
But you can make the argument that because Donald Trump purposely did not let his team get a proper transition, that Donald Trump was trying to sabotage him so that he would walk right into the poo-poo and doo-doo that he's now walked into.
He can come with all the excuses and reasons why this is the case. But as of 12 p.m. on January 20th, this is his problem now.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's just like the minute he got sworn in, it was like 11:47 Eastern time. It's like, it's on you now. It's under your watch. Right. So you can sit here and say this person did this or they didn't do whatever. And, you know, for whatever reason, this is happening. It's on you. It's on you. It's on your VP. It's on your team. Now, it's different if this is the first time, you know, he was going to be in the White House, but he's not a newbie. You know, I mean, and the fact of the matter, Information Man, he's been at this for 50 years, 47 years. Okay. So you got to be ready to go. It's boots on the ground. You got to make sure those Nikes are laced up and you got to be ready to run. And that's it. It's kind of like you going into, so you interview for a job, Information Man, where they see that you're seasoned. On day one, you're running.
Right.
There's no time for you to sit back and, hey, I'm going to sit back and this person is going to give me my network account and I'm just going to read all this document. No, you're running. You're like, okay, let's go. This is not your first.
Right. You're running.
You know, and you know, because we've all been in this situation before where we got to run. I'm like, hey, grab your laptop, grab whatever you need to grab. Come on, let's go.
Right.
Because this is the situation. It's not like you didn't know this is the situation you were walking into. We've been talking about this for a year. You know, and Back to Basics says too long, he's a career politician, business as usual. Well, 4 years ago we tried the other thing, the non-career politician. And you know, the one thing we know is with every president, they deal with whatever catastrophe. There's at least one major catastrophe that they have to deal with, that they have to lead.
Right.
And that's the reason why they take that big seat. You know, so I don't know. It's one of those things where we're going to see where this leads us.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of that, so how often are you airing shows? Because it seems like you're airing shows almost daily.
Well, that was because of most of my shows, the bulk of my content will be daily on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
Weekends. Every now and then I may do a broadcast during the week, like a Tuesday or a Wednesday night or a Friday night. So I'll probably go live again Friday night, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And that's it. So it'll be like more of a weekend swing. One show I'll drop during the week. I'll figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. I've been. It seems like the late night is seemed like that's working for me pretty good right now to do the late night type thing. So
yeah, the late night is pretty sweet. It really is. It's one of those things where you gotta find your groove, and it's funny because this company is like West Coast. So I know a lot of times they're sitting there, they're talking about stuff, and I'm like, they're referencing Pacific time, but you got a lot of people that are international.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're sitting here, you're like, okay, let's see how this plays. But prior to using Haps, how long were you live streaming?
I've been live streaming probably since 2016.
Okay.
On YouTube. So I've been at this for a while. I've kind of gotten the hang of it. And so it's been something that I've been doing for a while. So I got a little sense of where I'm going with programs and content, how to put content together and stuff like that. So just going to keep doing it and seeing how things go with Haps what I'm really looking forward to is being able to utilize my phone with Haps when I'm out and about, when I'm traveling, and there's things that are happening right in real time. That's something that I'm really looking forward to, being able to utilize this when there's something happening right in real time,
right
in the midst of my travels. That's I'm looking forward to the opportunity to be able to broadcast something in real time.
Like I can't, and I was talking with some of the panel before you joined, and they were talking about live sports and going back to live games and all that other stuff. Like I can't wait for, and I hope we get to this point again where I can go to a tech conference and you could stream live at the tech conference. You know, I mean, it totally opens up a different avenue. Mm-hmm. It's just. I mean, and so tell me, like, when you're streaming, like, or when you're out, are you like? And I'm sorry to ask you this question, but how are you streaming? You using like one of those selfie sticks, or like how are you? Are you?
I would definitely purchase a selfie. There's a what's the name of this thing? There's a it's designed for people who do what we call in YouTube, they call it vlogging, where you film yourself as you're out and about. And they've got these mechanisms where you put your cell phone on it and it moves with you, almost like it almost looks like someone's holding a camera for you.
Oh,
so
okay.
you're able to hold it, and it moves around with you, and it kind of moves with your body movement.
Okay.
So it doesn't look so robotic, like it looks very natural. And so they have these, if you go online, they have all these different streaming sticks that you can purchase. You can put your phone up and set it up. So I'll be using something like that. So if I go out and about and there's something going on, I'll have all that stuff already ready to go, where I can just pop my phone on there and boom. So there's a whole bunch of little gadgets that you can use for streaming. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because like I said, this is I kind of do it the conventional way. Like you're sitting at your laptop, but like I was using it last week when it snowed. I was outside with my son and we were, horsing around, and I was like, okay, this is cool. And like they made some modifications to the app because before they did this latest update with the app, you couldn't read the comments, and I was like, okay, this is useless. But it's good now that you can, while you're on, you can read the comments and you can display something. It's still a little quirkiness, because if you look at if you had the app downloaded on your phone, it's like more like portrait mode. Right. So the other person, whoever like is number 2 on the stream, like the comments are running across their face, and I'm like, okay, that's not ideal, but it shows progress.
Well, I figure that the more popular and the more people are coming on board, and with time, you're going to see a lot of improvements. I think for where Haps is at right now,
yes,
it's pretty damn good for what you can do with it right now. But I'm curious to see where it's going to be. Let me make a guess, a year from now.
I think we won't even realize this portion of it. Like what we're doing now and what we're doing 12 to 18 months from now, night and day.
Night and day.
Okay. I hope for the app itself to get a little bit slicker, because there's certain times I'm trying to send a comment and I'm accidentally hitting what's the name, an award, and I'm like, okay, I just gave that person 5,000 points. I'm like, I really didn't want to give them 5,000 points, but it's just so this like with the app, they just like require some spacings, but I like how it's coming along.
Well, let me say this before I get ready to go. One of the things that they did, and I was talking about this the other night, one of the items that I noticed that they added to this feature that I think is absolutely genius, and I don't see any other streaming platform, YouTube, none of them that are doing this. The fact that you can give someone a link, they can come onto your show, and before they come on your show, they can plug in their social media and bring their audience to your content. That is absolute genius. And the reason why it's genius, because that creates more discoverability, meaning they bring their people over and they see you or see what you're doing. They're like, wow, I like this guy's show. I want to subscribe to this show. I want to check this guy out.
Right.
Yeah, I can catch you. And then on top of the fact that they can catch you on any platform that they prefer to use. Some people prefer to use Facebook, right? So what they have done with that is that they have created a situation for you to have success and to have discoverability where people find out about you. Because if I'm linked to your channel and a bunch of other people, if they click on their social media, they're bringing people over to your channel. And they're discovering you for the first time. They may know me, but now they're getting to know who you are. And now they're saying, hey, I like this person. I like to follow him on Facebook. I'll follow him on whatever. See? So that was genius.
That is genius. That is genius. It just lines everything up right there. So it's like it's Linktree without that extra click.
Right. Right.
You know, so it's like, hey, you won't have to click here for the link tree and then go through. You know, we're going to make it available for you right here. So, and I think something like that, because like I said, I could sit here and I could follow you on these social channels, which is definitely key. The one thing I've been asking Peter is you gotta be able to bring a guest on without them needing a HAPS account.
Yeah, I think that would be genius too, because there's a lot of people that I could bring on, but
Right.
if I could bring them on whether they have an account or not, it would actually increase the opportunity to bring more people on board. And by bringing more people on board easier, that's actually going to benefit HAPS, because eventually those people are going to say, hey, I kind of like this. Maybe I should subscribe to this. So you're giving them an introduction first of what it's like. And then now you can hook these people on saying, you know what, let me create an account myself. I like this. So it's a win-win for you as a person on here creating content to be able to bring more people on more easy. And it's a win-win for HAPS, because now they're going to get people that are going to say, hey, I need to sign up for this myself.
Right. And they see the benefit. They immediately see the benefit. I mean, I use StreamYard. And I'm probably sure you use StreamYard too, or Restream it, or you know, that type of tool. And it just made it easy when you can say to the person, here's a link, you click on this, and you're going to automatically pop up inside the pre-live studio.
Right.
It just made it, because, you know, when you have all different types of guests, like I've had, like, you know, older guests who were like, you know what, like in the Blog Talk days, where I'm like, okay, you just dial this number and it's going to put you into the queue.
Right.
You know? So you need something that's not going to require too many keystrokes. Something that's not, hey, I don't know what my username is, you know. And they mentioned that they were working on it. I said, okay, you know, it's just, but at the same time, I know they're trying to build up their user base. So I get it. They're trying to build up the user base, and that's good too. But I see it like, you know, if you open that piece up, you'll have all types of guests coming through here.
Right.
You know, you got Donald Trump right behind you, or right on the side of you.
Yeah, I'm just I'm gonna talk about this individual, despicable individual.
Yeah. He's a trip. He is a trip. He's like, and we won't, believe it or not, we won't be rid of him until the you know, the state attorney generals get to put their hands on him.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get it's coming. I think people may be sleeping on it right now, but I think it's on its way. I think Donald Trump is going to feel the pain very soon as far as his legal troubles, which are who knows? I think he may be coming to a jail cell near you.
I like to think that's the case. I'm just not so sure. You know, it's just,
yeah, you can't be so sure, because you just never know how you know, when people are connected, and they're in a certain lifestyle, they got friends in high places. You never know what he's going to do. Hey, maybe he'll go to Russia and leave America and live in Russia, because he's going to have a lot of problems in this country. And he seems to like Putin, and maybe he's got better financial issues that he can deal with over there.
It's just, you know what, 4 years, really 5 years, because, you know, the whole Let's see.
Yeah.
The whole. Oh, someone said Donald Trump. No, it's just the whole lead up to him being the candidate and just running, and the whole 4 years is just tiring.
Right.
It's tiring, and I think boring. Yeah, Biden is boring, but I think boring is good.
Right. Well,
I just one last thing. I just hope people don't have buyer's remorse.
Well, people need to realize that politicians are figureheads. They come every 3 to 4 years. They're not going to always do everything you want them to do. But I think if they do what really matters the most to help people, then I think that's better than getting nothing. I think if Biden does anything that really benefits people on Main Street, what he does benefits Main Street and Main Street very well, then he can put a feather in his cap and say, I did A, B, and C. I mean, Donald Trump beat his chest a lot about what he did for African Americans of unemployment. Yeah. So, we'll see. We'll see. I'm a realist. You know that there's some things that they're gonna get done, and there's some things that are not gonna get done, and there's gonna be policies that they're not gonna like. Personally, I'm not that crazy over his immigration policy.
Okay.
But that's just me. I live in California, so I see firsthand how it does impact tax-paying people in California.
Right. How I gotta ask you a question, and you might not want to answer it. How do you feel about I guess illegal immigrants receiving the COVID vaccine?
Well, in California, Governor Newsom proposed what was it? a couple of $1 million for housing for them as well as the COVID vaccine. I mean, we really got no choice. We know that they're in the country. So we don't want them spreading this thing even more. But what bothers me about it is that once again, resources are being used for people who technically have no business being here because they came here illegally. And you've got Americans that are taxpayers that are here, born here, that are citizens who are now having to share resources that are being spread out to help people that are illegally here. So I have a problem with that because technically these people who come over here, they're the responsibility, for example, of Mexico. So if you come over here from Mexico, Mexico's responsible for these people, not me, not you. If I go to Mexico right now, you think that the Mexican government's gonna give me a cushy apartment to live in? You think the Mexican government's gonna set me up? They're gonna say, no, you take your butt back to America. Let the American government pay for your ass.
I'm not mad with you. I'm not mad with you. It's like I said, it's this you're on a set of skis, you're at the resort, and you're just like, and you're going down the hill.
Right.
And you're like, okay. And there's going to be some collateral damage.
Right.
And you're sitting here saying, okay, so I don't want everyone to get hurt, but some people will.
Right.
And you got to say, okay, and then you get into the schism of what's a good casualty.
Right.
And it's any way you look at it, it's ugly. It's really, really ugly.
Well, brother, I'm going to have to drop off because it's getting a little late and I need to get through this material real quick on my program. So let me drop off because I want to get through this because I got a big day tomorrow too. But no, I'll be back. We'll have more conversation. I mean, the weekend's here, and I'm always up pretty late on the weekend. So if you go live over the weekend, we'll have more conversation. I agree with that. I agree with what you were saying. No, don't get me wrong. Let me just say this too.
Go ahead.
I've got no problem with people who come to this country to have a better life and they want to contribute to the country and they do it the right way.
Yes.
But I do have a problem with people who don't do it the right way. And the reason why I have this attitude is because of this reason. One of the reasons why prisons in California are overcrowded to the point that the governor, which was Jerry Brown at one point in time, had to release a lot of nonviolent criminals, is because we have a lot of illegals who come over here, they commit crime, and then they go into our prison system where they're also being paid for because the taxpayers of California pay for everything that inmates get, their health care, everything. And I see it from the inside. And so I could never go to any foreign country, go into their country and squat and say, hey, I demand that you let me stay here and overlive my visa or say I'm going to stay there. They will kick me out with the quickness. There's no way that I can demand to stay in any country that I came into illegally. They wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't tolerate it.
No, they wouldn't. And you're right.
Why? So the question is, America and all its freedoms, we tolerate stuff to a fault that ultimately impacts us. So, like for example, I'm gonna keep it 100% raw.
Okay.
The people that are coming in from South America, from Central America, a lot of those folks that's at the border are coming in from Central America, and even the Mexican government is trying to get rid of them too, but they can't. So they're at the point where they're like, oh, the hell with it. Biden's the new president. He's probably going to open up the floodgates, let them come in. So the hell with it. We just want them out of Mexico. The Mexican government doesn't even want people from Central America. Now, if Biden lets 11 million people come in, this is the $1 million question to you before I get off.
Okay.
And these people come over here, they're poor, they don't have no jobs, they don't have no nothing. 9 out of 10 times, what neighborhoods are they moving to? You got 10 seconds to answer the question. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, 5. I got it. Minority neighborhoods. I got it.
Thank you. They're not moving to Beverly Hills. They're not moving to Baldwin Hills, where you got rich black folks in Baldwin Hills in LA. They're going to go to, I'm going to tell you where they're going to move to. They're going to be in places like Oakland, East Oakland. They're going to be in Los Angeles because that's all close to the border. They're going to be moving into areas where there's already a fight and a battle and a struggle over resources.
No, you're right. You're right.
You already got homelessness on Skid Row in LA that nobody's doing anything about. How about deal with that, Joe Biden? Huh? How about deal with that issue? Those people are citizens. They live in America. They're not over a border. How about deal with the situation in Los Angeles with Skid Row? How about that? I got to get off, brother. I got to get my shirt.
I know. Listen. I'm gonna catch you this weekend, or I'm gonna catch you because definitely we gotta do part 2 of this discussion because it's a heavy one.
All right, everybody out there listening, peace to you. Thank you all out there. It's the Information Man Show on Haps. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, brother.
All right, take care of yourself. Let me pop off of here.
And that was Information Man. Very interesting. He's got a great show. Back to basics. Peace to you. Thank you for chiming in. You were part of the collaboration. Stop by whenever. I have subscribed to you. I'm gonna briefly get in and talk about EA Sports. EA Sports College Football returns. It was something that came up a couple of weeks ago about EA Sports. It's official. College football fans, the NCAA franchise is back. EA Sports announced what was it, last week, that the first edition, since NCAA 2014 would be released at a later date, but no specific were given. As of now, the game won't feature any names, likenesses, or images of actual college football players, but that could change. Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut said that he would introduce legislation in Congress to allow players to profit off their talent. The only person in the world who's upset. And who is that? That's none other than Joe Burrow, who just mad that he never got to be on the cover. When you sit here and you talk about college football, you talk about, profiting off of likenesses and such. You kind of sit here and you think that everyone is making money off that collegiate athlete's back. Christy, how you doing? What's up? Give you a shout out. When you talk about EA Sports, you talk about college football and, just college sports altogether, who's getting left out? That's the athlete. The athlete is getting left out. There's been so much talk back and forth about this. It really gets tiring. Christy, thank you for jumping in here and chiming in on the chat room. We've had a lot of comments tonight. I'll go back to talk about college football. We talked about COVID vaccine. We talked about whether or not, you're for or you're against it. We talked about remote schooling. We talked the benefits and the side effects of remote schooling. We've had educators in here tonight to talk about, really the pitfalls of what our kids have had to go through for the last year. It's painful to sit here to watch. We talked about a lot of stuff. Thank you so much. Like, we had a bunch of people in here tonight just chiming in. We talked a little bit of politics. Hey, John, thank you for chiming in here. Appreciate you. And thank you for subscribing. Pam, thank you for chiming in here. Let's see. I am subscribing to you. We talked COVID. We talked about, the effects of remote school. We talked about, the kids that have been left at home, kids that are still at home. Here it is almost a year later since, the initial shutdown happened. Hey, no problem, John. Thank you. We talked about, what about the kids that don't have broadband access? What about the kids that don't have computers? What about the kids that, they're logging into GroupMe or to Zoom on their mobile phone, and that's their only means of connecting and completing their work and things like that. We talked about what some of the teachers that we've known have had to go through to try to connect with their students, which is key. Christy chimes in. She says, I don't have kids, but I can't even imagine them going through what they were going through. I've had first and second strain of COVID, and now I have what they call long haulers COVID, which you have from the symptoms. I finally tested negative. It'll be a week ago. God bless you. I'm so happy and hopefully praying that you are through this. I will tell you, Christy, and as I said on the onset of the show, that I am taking the second dose of the vaccine. on Monday. I can't imagine, the millions of people that have been sick with this, but I'm glad you made it through, and I'm glad you're on HAPS, chiming in tonight with, your comments and everything else like that. That's really important. And it's really getting that word out. I don't know if you're for or against the vaccine. I'm thinking if you had COVID a few times, you might, be for it, but it's to a point where the country itself is, divided on this vaccine. I know a lot of people are talking about how it was developed so quickly. Something like this usually takes 18 months or even longer. It takes, several years to be developed, and then for it to be rolled out. The way this is rolled out, it's beyond scary, and I get it. We talked earlier tonight about after you get the first shot, some of the feelings that we ran through. So myself and one of the other panel members were talking about how you felt. The arm soreness, yes. Being lethargic, I called it. I'm glad, Christy, you're for it, and I hope it's available in your area, because I know that's the other issue. That if you're for it, can you get it? And there's some hurdles that you got to get through, because unless you were initially an essential worker, it wasn't immediately available, or then it went by, if you're XYZ age, then you would be available to receive it. But we talked earlier tonight about, I expressed myself. I was like, I was at work remotely. It was the week after I took the shot. It was like maybe 3:00 in the afternoon. I was on an audio conference call. MMA Money Show, thank you for the fist bump. Definitely appreciate it. Pam says she took the second shot. I heard makes many sick. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. So I was on a conference call. I had taken the first shot, and I found myself like just snoozing. So here I am sitting here having a conversation, and then boom, I'm out like a light. And then it's like I woke up and I was just like, wait a minute, where am I? And I'm looking to see, oh my goodness, is this person still on the line for the conference call? Which is, yeah, it's embarrassing, but it's one of those things, when I was asked about it, I was like, hey, it was a Moderna nap. I just threw it out there, and because people are having all different types of effects with this. So it's, I don't know. It's if you're for it, it's great, because I know for one, everyone wants to get back to the normal, that I'm sure we're going to have the new norm. Christy chimes in and says, I'm going to have to wait until I don't have any symptoms. However, I'm on the list after that. Very good. Very good. Because I'm hoping that stuff with you, all the symptoms and everything else like that, because I know I've heard it also. It's known to linger. I've heard that too. So we were talking a little NBA. Our good friends at MMA for Money Show. I think you guys are on Wednesday nights. I'm not sure, but I think you guys are on Wednesday night. But you guys put together a great show, a really great show. You and your crew do a phenomenal show. I love the live video that you incorporate into your into your show. So it's really interactive. It's just overall great. Pam chimes in and says, I choose not to take I have had COVID, might get one next round. So, Pam, are you saying that? Oh, and you. So my question for Pam is: are you waiting for the Johnson and Johnson, the one shot, versus these, Pfizer and Moderna, which are two shots? I've taken the Moderna, and then on top of, after I take my second shot, I'm gonna have to come back for take a booster shot. So that's kind of, if you're a type of person that's not into needles, so you're like, okay, I went through this twice, and now I got to come back for a third time. Christy says, I work in government, electrical utility, so I've been working from home until I really got sick. So the question I would have for Christy is, did anyone else in your home was anyone in your else in your home ill, like within your personal bubble? Were they ill? And Pam says, yes, one shot. I think a one shot is going to be a winner. MMA show is on every Tuesday night. I was wrong. I said Wednesday, every Tuesday night. It's a great show. Tuesday night, 9:00. I mean, you don't have novice. You don't really have novice on the show. You got people on there that know what they're talking about. Hang on one second. Carlinda K, I'm not going to take the vaccine. Okay, that's fine. Everyone has their choice. Thank you very much, Ted. We truly appreciate the continued support. We're big fans of your show as well. Thank you so much. It's like I said, it's a group. I usually try to have a group of people on. Thank you for the support, to give their perspective. Yassine, I'm going to uninvite you and invite you back. Okay. So Carlinda, my question to you is, has anyone close in your family been affected by COVID? Because I see you're very, very strong in that you're not going to take it. And MMA Money Show, thank you once again for another gift, another award. Thank you so much for the Teamwork Makes Dream Work Award. Yassine, I just invited you again. And so the question goes out to Carlinda. Because I know basically everyone that I've spoken with has been affected somehow, whether a loved one or whether, a friend. And if you do want to chime in, you're more than welcome to come on in and chime in. Christy says, I got it from an asymptomatic young lady at the dentist's office, and they did not know she was asymptomatic. It's insane that this stuff is just, and that's, Christy, that's part of my reason why I'm like, you know what, family's going to take it. I'm going to take it. And that's that 3 people have died in my family this year from Pam. Yeah. Carlinda says, my aunt died 2 months ago and it was COVID and the vaccine is too new. I'm not mad with you. MMA Money Show says, yes, sir. Big believer that teamwork makes the dream work. Yeah, it definitely does, man. It really does. And it shows in your show. It really does. Definitely. I don't know if I'm going to stream later, either tomorrow, but I definitely would love to get your take on the upcoming card. Yassine, you're in the house. How you doing?
How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. Good to see you too.
Definitely.
Pam, definitely sorry for your loss. I mean, just friends and family and everything else like that. Our condolences for your loss. Seriously. Yassine, thank you for joining in. We're
Definitely.
just chatting about COVID. We were talking a little bit of NBA. And so many people in the HAPS community.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Great to see you, and great to come up and help you reach the HAPS challenge.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it. Pam, thank you so much for the Super Heart Award. Thank you so much.
Yes, I see some familiar faces on your chat here.
Yeah. Like I said, Corinda says I have 3 friends who took the vaccine and they ended up in the hospital and really sick. Yeah. I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely heard that. This stuff is serious.
Right.
And Christy says, Pam, you're very welcome. This is some serious stuff. Yassine, tell me about the last week of your life. Tell us about the last week of your life, because we've seen it on HAPS.
Yeah, it was amazing, man. It was cool stuff to see. Last week was a how can I say, an amazing thing to see our team succeed, right? So it was amazing. What really amazed me also into that is 0 touchdowns for the Chiefs, which was very unreal.
Yeah, I've never ever expected to see that the Chiefs get shut down. First time on, Ted. Pam, excellent. Hang on one second, Yassine.
Sure.
Pam, is this your first time on HAPS altogether? I mean, I believe it's the first time we've interacted together, but I don't have good health, so I'm cautious about the new stuff. Yeah. And this stuff was done really quick. Really, really quick. So, a lot of people are skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are skeptical. So we're just waiting for Pam to answer that question. If this is her first time on HAPS, I'm gonna make sure that Johnny Be Good is coming in. So Yassine, tell me.
Mm-hmm.
You were down there. You've waited. How long have you waited? Since 2002.
Yes, since 2002, and I never experienced something like this. 2002. I was very young, I would say, right? So yeah, it was amazing. It was a great thing to see. It's not just Tom Brady itself. It's the whole team. Did a pretty outstanding job, and also we have a great quarterback, right? So it was so awesome.
You got a great coaching staff. You got,
oh yes,
you got studs on this team. You got. I mean, by trade, I'm a Jets fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you that. So I've been tormented by Tom Brady for the last 20 years.
Oh wow.
Being a Jets fan with the Patriots.
Yeah. Right.
That's one thing. But to see, and just to let you know, I put money on the Bucks because I was like, there's no way they're losing. There's no way. This moment is too big for them to fall short.
Correct. Yeah, our defense is very, very good, very strong.
So, we saw you streaming that night. So you were outside of Raymond James Stadium?
It was very close to Raymond James Stadium. It was an event usually made up by a organization in Miami. It's called the 11 Miami. It was a very big thing. it's more of a how can I say, a nightlife kind of thing from Miami. They organized it in Tampa due to the Super Bowl. There was
Okay.
a lot of people over there, and few known people also over there. There was some VIP places and stuff, which is pretty cool.
So
And
Yassine, were you like right off of Dale Mabry Boulevard?
a little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yep, a little bit by there. I'm not sure if it was by, yeah, but yeah, exactly by over there.
Oh, okay.
It was in a hotel too. It was a hotel there, and they had a pool and grill kind of place over there. So that's where they hosted the big main event of the Super Bowl and stuff, and people, you know, gathering up and stuff like that. So I got invited there, and some friends also came and stuff. So I had to show up and be there. So
I used to live in Tampa, well, outside of Tampa, 20 years ago. I lived in Valrico, Florida. So it's like 30 to 35 minutes.
Yep.
You know, it was a good drive. Hang on 1 second.
I'm so happy for the Bucks. Indeed, yeah. Hello, Carlinda.
Carlinda, how you doing?
Hey, yes.
Hello.
Good. How are you, Ted?
Pretty good, pretty good. We were just reminiscing about the Bucks this past week, and really, it's been like a good 5-week run.
Yeah, it was, and I kind of said to a lot of people, you know, it's we're gonna win this thing. We're gonna win it, and actually, we did.
Yes, you did.
We had a very very kind of hard time around November. You know, we had a lot of hard time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a slightly kind of thing. We're not gonna make it, but you know, we did. So Christy is a diehard Denver fan. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
So
awesome.
what are you thinking? What are you thinking about for the off season? What are you thinking? What do they have to do? What do they have to do to bring the band back together?
Oh, they have to, you know, go ahead and do the same what they've been doing, working, you know, for the next season coming up, right, or so, and they can go up and do what they were doing, you know, work hard.
Is there any enhancements they need to do?
I wouldn't say some enhancements, but you know, to kind of focus into it, I would say, you know, go for it and you know, work hard for it and go for it. Do you think they need to do some enhancements there, Ted? Or?
I'm just gonna I'm gonna say this much. I think it might be hard to bring some of the people, because you know, like when the team wins the Super Bowl, there's gonna be certain people that are gonna get paid.
True.
So other teams are gonna jump in there. So Godwin.
Yeah, Godwin. Yeah.
Yeah, I see him heading to a payday.
I
see him heading to a payday. I kind of wonder
Devin White too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am with that. I'm like, but you know, the core of the team, I definitely see them coming back. You know, and why not? You got to defend it. And you know,
yeah, Gronkowski, man, that guy.
So, what was your take on Gronkowski this season? Was it kind of like, you know, for the most part, he played most of the season, right?
Yep, he did.
All right.
He did. Yeah, it was, you know, it's who Gronk is, right? I mean, but it kind of got me very, you know, I was very shocked. I mean, it was Brady who signed in, and then since he saw Brady, you know, signed in, he came out of retirement and signed in with the Bucks. That was kind of crazy, and played pretty much all games, I would say. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Johnny B. Good is chiming in. He's like, we just like Brady because he's a cute dude. and he said he's gonna. Let's see. You guys are the last team to have a bye week. Also, it's true. I mean, because I remember at one point you guys, Bucks were like 7-4 or 7-5, and then they ran the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. If I'm not, it was 11-5. 11-5.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and the Saints. Yeah, the Saints was top. We were the second in the division on the chart, and it was the top of us. It was, who was that? The Saints. Yeah, the Saints was in top of us. We're the second. Then we beat the Washington football team, and then the Saints, and then the Packers, and then of course you go to the Super Bowl, and then
go to the big game.
Big game at home.
At home. Yeah. That's why I knew we're gonna lose. I said there's no way they're gonna lose. No way.
Yeah.
No way. I mean, at any point in the game, where you were located, were you concerned at any point?
Say again?
Were you concerned at any point of the game on Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
At what point was that?
Oh, you said continue the phrase you were saying.
Oh, I said at any point during the game on Sunday when you were outside the facility, were you concerned about the Buccaneers losing?
Oh, no. Since it was about 14-6 and we went up to 21, I think 9, I was like, it's that's it. That's
okay.
It's I started celebrating, and I did one live stream when I said the Chiefs. I was like, the Chiefs ? Who is that? Who's that? That's when I knew.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Carlinda, you have any comments? You wanna you wanna talk Bucks, or you wanna talk the vaccine, or what's on your mind?
I'm just not gonna take the vaccine because it takes 10 years to create a good, reliable vaccine, and so for normal vaccines, and stuff. And so now, I mean, they created a vaccine 9 months into this COVID thing, I mean, that raises red flags for me,
Oh no, we're definitely with you. We're definitely with you. It's just
and I got 3 friends that took the vaccine, and they ended up in the hospital sick as heck. So my health's too fragile to think about doing something like that with my body.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's a perspective. Want to just chime in and say, Pam Gladden, thank you for being on the broadcast for the first time. I finally get what you were meaning. I just didn't get a chance to respond back. So I wish I had like a sound effect where I can go ding, ding, ding. First time on the show. But other than that, I don't, Yassine, I'm just going back to the Bucks. I'm glad there was no Pro Bowl. I'm glad that bowls, and I'm just glad that there was some talk about Bruce Arians leaving. Is he not going, or is he going, or?
No, he's not. He's gonna be staying. He's definitely staying.
Yeah, my son's calling, so I have to take this call.
Sure,
Gotcha.
Go ahead.
Real quick.
No worries.
All right.
Thank you. So he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he's not. He's gonna be staying. Yeah, and because he was when they were doing the celebration after the boat parade, he was like, some of the players were talking, and he took off the mics from every player and said, "We got this next year."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Pushing all the chips in. Pushing all the chips in. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. Oh my goodness. So, I mean, so when you're not watching football, what else are you doing?
Well, here's the thing for like sports. See, I just got kind of into football. I usually watch soccer. I'm a soccer guy.
Okay.
Yeah, so I watch soccer for sports. I would say.
So is it like EPL or you're watching MLS? Like what are you watching?
I watch usually La Liga, and then Premier League. Yep.
Okay.
English, yeah, EPL, of course.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
And who's your favorite team?
Oh, I go for Madrid, man.
Okay.
Big Madrid fan.
Okay, cool. Where was I? I was in Orlando for a tech conference. And man, I believe it's a MLS. The Orlando team down there.
Orlando, yeah. Orlando team, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like I was down there, and it wasn't too far from the where the Magic play, and it was down there, and just the just the energy that was going on out there was just like, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Rita Moore, Retta Moore, how you doing? And Christy says she loves baseball. What's your take on the Rays? I mean,
Rays, man. Hey, the Rays, man. See, the Rays. Here's the thing: we won a Stanley Cup. Tampa won a Stanley Cup. We went to the division. We played against the Dodgers in the finals, the World Series. We were gonna make it, but we didn't. And now we have a Super Bowl. See, Tampa is doing great in sports, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. Tampa is really doing. It's a great place to live, man. It's somewhere where you can go and settle down.
Yeah, we call it the now since we won the Super Bowl, everybody's calling it the Champa Bay. Yeah.
I had a great 2 years, almost 2 years down there.
Oh, there you go. And I'm sure if you were in Tampa, I'm sure you visited also St. Pete.
Yes.
Have you?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Clearwater, yes.
Clearwater, so that's the area. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I was there. I went to see.
It's all united. St. Pete, Clearwater. It's all Tampa Bay. That's why it's called Tampa Bay, because it's all surrounded in the bay. And St. Pete, you got St. Pete, Largo, Clearwater, and then you got some areas, Palm Harbor and stuff like that in Tampa. So.
Yeah, I just remember. Yeah. I remember being. I remember going to watch the Orlando Magic play. I remember going to see the Devil Rays. Well, they were the Devil Rays back then before they were the Rays. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm dating myself. This is like 20 years ago. Seeing the Lightning, it was just great. And I used to work like right by Raymond James. I used to work for PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I worked right there by Lake Point.
Lake Point, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I know the area very well. I would look out of my office and I would see Raymond James Stadium right there. I'm like, oh man, this is a freaking.
Well, congratulations, Ted. You made the 250, man.
I made the 250.
Hey,
Thank
guys,
you, my friend.
Ted got it.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you to everyone.
Of course, yeah, definitely.
Thank you to everyone. So I don't know who else is in the queue who needs to make it. Made it by the skin of my teeth with a whole lot of help.
But yeah, Tampa, it's a great city, man. You got also, you got Ybor City and
yes,
yeah.
Yeah, it gets to the point where I was down in Ybor City. I was down in Busch Gardens. It was even though I was away for that short time, it seemed like a vacation.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like a vacation. It was like I never actually felt like I was a resident down there.
Right.
Because I guess MMA money. Thank you. I just felt like when I was down there, like I'm on vacation or like I'm a fish out of water.
Right.
Yeah,
and the closest place for Tampa, I would say, going down, to the beach will be Clearwater Beach.
Yes.
Clearwater Beach. Yeah, it's nice beach there. It was one of the times it was kind of ranked the #1 beach in the U.S. Yeah. That was like back 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, is there anyone else we need to help?
Yeah, anybody would like to help?
Who needs assistance with getting their 250, because you got to get that 250 in. And I guess my question is, what's the best time to go on?
To go on the platform?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good question. I would say, because here's the thing, you gotta kind of compare with the with the overseas people, like the Europeans and the
right.
The how do you say that, the
international?
Yeah, right. The Oceania kind of say, I would say, because that's the continent where Australia and New Zealand, those parts of the area. I would say, what time's the best? Maybe because you're in the East Coast, yes?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm in New York.
You're in the same path as me. It's like, what time now? It's like 1:37. Yeah, so I would say around our sunset. Sunset, or maybe like what, like 6-ish, 7-ish.
Yes.
In the evening, that kind of helps also.
Okay.
Or later in the day, maybe like at 1 p.m. Well, 1-ish, something like that. Well, then you got the West Coast kind of waking up.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, that area of the 6-ish, 7-ish our time.
Okay.
Kind of, I'd say, would kind of help because there's a lot of people still on. So.
So Pam says she might need the broadcast later. She's CST. So what time?
CST, I think it's Central.
Central. Yeah, that's Central.
She's probably like 1 hour, I think, behind us.
Right.
Yeah.
Rita, thank you for the Creative Genius Award. Thank you.
As Johnny and Randy says, whoop whoop.
So with that, I will say whoever else, I'll look around. I don't want to grab up all the bandwidth because I know a lot of people jumped in here and for the assist. 4 to 5 p.m. when most of the world is still up, according to Time Buddy app. Okay.
That's what I was going to say, like that time, or maybe 6-ish, 7-ish, that kind of time. I would say the 4-ish, the 5-ish kind of time, PM.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool.
Right.
Is there, so do you go on any like, do you have a specific day of the week that you go on, or you just go on whatever?
I did not actually. I just went kind of, I didn't have like that schedule kind of thing.
Okay.
When I went in, sometimes I would just kind of schedule a broadcast ahead of time sometimes, because of course, especially doing a scheduling broadcast is also great to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that way people know when you're going to be on.
Right. Because they see your scheduled broadcast, and you get the views of those people that follow you, or so that my follower, my broadcaster is going to be watching. You already scheduled this. I'm going to go watch. I'm going to go see it and kind of give it a like, and then when he goes live, I'll jump in or so, So
MMA says you get the West Coast, East Coast, Europe, early AM for Asia, 9 AM for Australia.
Yeah.
Very important. Very important.
Right.
Because I was always wondering, because I'm new to this live streaming bit.
Good thinking right there, MMA. Yeah, it's
yes.
It's a good thing.
Christy says, guys, I laughed tonight. I broadcast the landscape. Half of me look good. All of you look good. Um, Christy says, when I get fully well, I'm going to start broadcasting. I'll probably just be at random crap and BS. Okay. Retta says, as a broadcaster, you always need to have your scheduled time to know when you're on. My times are at sunset. Most people know when I go live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go.
Johnny B. Good says, Ted, ask your Facebook friends to come to HAPS. Most of them are over there. Okay. I will start scheduling my broadcasts. Yeah, Pam did that. I scheduled a pre Super Bowl show where we only went like 20 minutes, but it was like out the gate there was like 40 people that were, and I just said, oh, okay. I said, I guess I need to use this more. Christy, you will be great. You got this. Yes, you definitely do have it, and I definitely will ask the friends at Facebook to chime in.
Definitely. Like you said, scheduling, and a lot of people in the comments are saying scheduling. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was the first time I did it, and I'm telling you, I went live and it said like 37 people, just like that, and I was like, whoa.
Yep. And you gotta remember, also people have also seen it when you schedule it, so they know that. Oh, you're gonna be going, for example, let's say 4:30. That 4:30 time you go live, they're already gonna come in, so it's pretty good. Yeah.
Christy says, no offense, but I'm out. All of my social is separate. Okay. that makes sense. That makes sense. I have not mastered HAPS yet. If you need help, we're all here to help you.
Yeah, everybody, gets their Pam, so it's also great to, go ahead and hit that live button. It's a very good thing, and we'll be here. We'll be around. No worries.
Yeah, we'll definitely be around. I'll definitely
be around.
So what I did tonight was everyone who was in here, I just selected subscribe to all of them. So that way I can know when they're going to be on, so I can definitely come on here and support. And
that's the best thing to do. Unity is community, right? So
yes,
definitely.
Yeah, it's a great community.
And this is what I like to do. This is what I like. Here's the thing, like what I like to do, and also some people from the HAPS team also mentioned that what you have to do to kind of get into the community, and once people go live or so, I would say, like, let's say a new person have joined HAPS,
right?
I would go there and click on their profile, and if they're brand new, I would say, hey, welcome to HAPS, and welcome them to the community, and to feel like there's people over there in their broadcast and welcoming them. It's a good thing, of course.
Yeah, it's I'm telling you, like 60 days ago, I think like most of us, I mean, like most of you guys were scopers. I wasn't. I wasn't. I was just like, what? Nah, no thanks. But I see the benefit.
Yeah, so, a lot of people have joined on HAPS when. Do you know? Because I don't know if you've heard, when the banner of Periscope said we're about to shut down, the next day everybody jumped in.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And Christy says, bye. I just don't keep all my eggs in one basket. Well, that's valid. That's a valid point. So with that, I am going to shut it down because I've got to show up to work in the morning. But thankfully, I'm remote tomorrow.
There you go.
I'm remote tomorrow. I had to go in today. So I only go in on Thursdays to the city. So commute's not that bad. It's usually, about an hour there, hour back.
Right.
And let's see. I can help you link your media if you want someday. Yep, we can all help. We can all definitely help if you want to do that, if you need help with that.
Flooded HAPS next day.
Flooded HAPS the next day. It's like, geez. All right. Well, folks, I want to thank everyone for chiming in, all your help, everyone. And I've subscribed, and thank you.
Hey, Ted.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Wait. Good to see you. The other way. Good to see you.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ted.
Bye bye.
See ya. This is what I do.
I know.
I gotta snap out.